Hey everyone, welcome back to the Keep Watching podcast, where we decide what to watch so you don't have to. I'm James,
And I'm Sarah.
and today we're going to be talking about Heart Signal 4, episode 6.
Nice.
What an emotional roller coaster ride this episode was.
Oh, yeah. It's all over the place.
At least for me. Oh my goodness. So, in the last episode, we had a bit of a debate over who Jimin's number 2 was. Remember this?
Yeah. And I think we'll find out I was right.
Yeah. I'm still confused, and a
Oh,
decision that the show made.
I am also confused, but
Decision that a show made it more confusing, and we'll get to that. But
okay.
yeah, it was either Mingyu or Hushin, and I was team Mingyu, and you were team
Uh-huh.
Hushin. I will say
Yeah.
I asked my wife this question,
Yeah.
kind of almost out of context, and she said Hushin,
yeah.
and
She knows
then
what's up.
and then she asked her friend who also watched the show, and she also said Hushin. So
Yeah.
it's just me. But yeah, in the past we've talked about like, oh, this show, not this show, but shows in the past, like, oh, it feels like this show is like made for me or made for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about this. I feel like this entire episode was just made to troll me specifically.
Really?
Oh my goodness.
Troll you? Okay.
What a roller coaster this was for me.
All right.
Because we've talked about how, or I've mentioned how I identify with Mingyu individually.
Yes.
But after watching this episode, Sarah, I feel like I'm really starting to identify with like Mingyu's whole situation on the show, like whole romantic situation.
There is some spiciness in your past that I know nothing about, and I'm excited to learn about.
Yeah, it's gonna be awkward to talk about it, but I do feel like I have some, maybe some insight into how Mingyu's feeling, because I feel like I've maybe lived through like some variation of this. Like, it's not identical. Of course, it's not identical, but
yeah.
This season of Heart Signal might be the best like reality dating show I've ever watched. Like this,
Wow.
I identify with this so much.
We're on episode 6. That's some big talk for only episode 6.
The season could end now, and would I be disappointed? Yes, but it still would be the best season I've ever watched.
Okay.
Like, these episodes of just nonstop good stuff, basically.
Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, I have a lot to say about this episode. Are there any comments from the listeners you want to mention, Sarah? I'm ready to jump in, but
we got one from Sunny, rooting for Ji Young and Mingyu as a couple, as well as Gyorei and Jumi. And I say I agree with those. Those are some solid pairings. I mean, I don't know that I think they're gonna happen, but I like those groups of people together.
Yeah, Mingyu and Ji Young seems right, I will say. Like, that's the logical mind, that like they have common interests, similar in age also. But I really get where Mingyu's coming from with this Jimin thing. Like, I really understand what he's living right now.
All right.
I think Interregnum also compared the summit of the ladies in the last episode too. He compared it to like the Red Wedding, which I believe is a Game of Thrones reference.
Yes, it is. I loved this comment.
I have not watched Game of Thrones, but I'm pretty sure that's just a wedding where everybody gets murdered.
Yeah. Okay, so everybody, including like main characters, so it's a big sticking, remembering moment. Like, it's dramatic.
Okay. Yeah, seems like a dramatic comparison to me.
It's true. Jumi did not murder anyone.
Yeah, but I think overall Interregnum was just pointing out that like Jumi like lawyered the other two girls into like getting a one-on-one with Human, and basically went in there with like this sinister plan to manipulate the entire situation, which I'm here for. I was trying to, I backed off Jumi a little bit in the last episode, but I'm here for sinister Jumi.
I wouldn't say it was that sinister. She just knew what she wanted. She just knew what she wanted, and she went and got it.
She may have piled on when the opportunity came out. The suggesting Gyorei to the other ladies was a little bit maybe too much. But really pushing Jimin to go after Jiwon also was part of that. And Jiyeon partook in that too a little bit.
Yeah.
That's about where we left off, right? And anything else we need to remember from episode 5?
There were dates. There were one-on-ones that were
The
unofficial
one-on-ones,
dates.
yeah, that's where we ended.
There
I
was a
think.
mall food court or whatever. Yeah. People in the house. It's fine. Yeah, let's
Everything
go.
up to now seems like ancient history after watching this episode for me. Like this episode just is the show now.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. All right, you ready to start episode 6?
Let's go.
All right. The words appear on the screen. A mysterious vibration shakes up Single House.
It's
Oh,
gotten
boy.
so dramatic overnight.
Mysterious vibration. Oh no.
Yes, everyone gets a text that says a lounge party for the occupants will take place tomorrow.
Yeah. Jiwon's still not there.
Jiwon's never there.
He's never there. Why is he here?
It's an excellent question.
Okay.
But it's great. Like the girls are already in the playroom, but all the guys had been in their beds already because I don't know, these boys go to sleep early or something. They're always in their beds, but they immediately all jump up and like convene and then go to the girls after they get this text.
Yeah.
And it's just funny.
They all seem exhausted. Like this happened like in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Like after midnight at least. And then we don't get anything here, but based on conversations that's going to happen later, it seems like they stayed up extremely late and they were like drinking into the night.
Yeah, and we don't see any of
We
that.
don't see it, which is
so-
very weird.
It is very weird.
They're going to mention something later that makes it seem like something happened and they decided not to show it to us,
Mm-hmm.
which either is like it like doesn't go along with the story they're trying to tell, or
Or it'll show up in a flashback later,
Maybe, yeah,
because they're
maybe.
doing a lot of flashbacks now.
yeah, okay. And then we just go boom right the next day at 7 p.m. and it's time for a motherfucking party.
Yeah, it is. And they all like arrive separately at this fancy bar and they're all dressed up. James, there's so many suits. You know how I feel about
I
suits.
wrote it down. I wrote it down in my notes. I
Suits on suits on suits. I love suits. It was great.
said, there is a suit person.
Suits
They're
look good
going
on
to this
people.
like fancy lounge bar. Do you care to comment on any of the suits in
Um,
particular?
No, I mean I do like a 3-piece suit, so like G1 suit was the best.
Like you're just grading the suits, or are you grading the boys?
I'm grading the suits.
Okay. Not as interesting.
He
but
already did a
okay.
good thing with his hair. He like styled it back. That was cool.
Okay.
I will say, like, I felt like Mingyu, maybe because his tie was loose or so. He looked a little bit like the suit was a little too big for him, and like he might have been in his dad's suit. It's just, I feel like he could get that tailored a little bit better.
For Mingyu?
Yeah, I mean, he still looked good, but you know, it just
Mingyu's
I don't
getting through the night, man.
It's
Whatever
fair.
this is, we just gotta get through it.
And then Hushin is like ultimate cool guy suit where he doesn't even have a collared shirt on. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much what I expect from him. But they all looked good. Good suits.
Okay. I'll make you pick later which one's the best. And not which suit's the best, which bro's the best. You have to pick one.
I mean, I need like
You'll have a little bit of time.
criteria. I need criteria
Oh.
for what you mean by the
I'll,
best.
I'll give you as much criteria as you're allowed to get later when I ask you.
Okay.
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 All right. We get a first glimpse, like all the guys show up first. And then we get our
Mhm.
first glimpse of like, I don't know when she is arriving, but we get our first glimpse of it, the new girl. They,
Yes.
like show her for a second. This is going to end up being Yisu,
Mhm.
but we'll get her full breakdown later. But I want to give you, I write down the host comments when they look
Okay.
at people for the first time.
yeah.
I did that back in episode 1, so I'm gonna do it here. Okay, this is Yisu's comments from the host. Wow. Oh my goodness. Wow. Holy moly. Wow. She's on another level.
Oh man.
To be fair, she got to show up in a dress.
Yeah, absolutely. She got to show up on fancy night where everybody's, you know.
Also, what's crazy is like we watching the TV show have not seen her face yet. Maybe these reactions are to seeing her face, but they're like editing them out of order. But like
Maybe?
they're purely going off of like just her figure in the dress right
Yeah.
now. Okay.
Yeah.
You think so?
That's
I
what-
feel
that's
like
what
they've seen
I think
her.
so, yeah.
I think these are
Oh.
like future comments potentially.
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
know. But yeah, all right. That's our glimpse into Yisu. Okay.
But yeah, so the guys in all their suits sit on one side of the table, which is very awkward because they all arrive first.
Yeah, Yisu's not at the table yet.
Yeah, she's not at the table yet. And like when G1 he shows up first and he looks and he like counts everything and he's like, "Oh yeah, new person is coming." And like every time a new person arrives at the table, he's like, "Count how many cups there are." It's like new person's coming. It's just this funny moment after like everybody comes where they all go, "Oh yeah, new girl's coming, nice."
You think so?
Yeah,
They,
yeah. At least
they
amongst
would.
the guys, they're just like nice.
I think the guys. I think I said the guys looked more. It looked more excited than nervous. I would say,
Yeah.
with maybe like I don't know how Mingyu is particularly feeling through this process, but
That's
I
fair.
think
He does
Jiwon's
look a
definitely
little like,
excited. Jiwon's definitely
yeah.
excited.
Well, yeah, he's hoping for a Nuna that actually likes him, you know?
Exactly. Oh, what a narrow. Yeah, thread the needle to get that.
Yeah.
I wrote down. I wrote down. Oh, Hushin really chose to take Jimin's advice and wear all black, which was the opposite of what she said. Right?
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. She was like, "You look good in bright colors," and he's like, "No, only black."
Yeah, he just wore black anyway.
Yeah. Probably all he has, you know? Seems like that type of guy.
And then this was. I enjoyed this aspect of this whole lounge bar situation.
Hmm.
The guys are really gonna discuss before the ladies get there, like, should we be like standing up when they arrive? Like, what should we do? Like, they're really like breaking this down. I don't know if it's like, is it like strategy or if it's just like they don't know the etiquette because this
Yeah.
place is so fancy and they're like wearing suits. They're like, if you're wearing suits, do we have to stand up? Or if they're wearing dresses, do we have to stand up? Like, what's the rules?
Yeah, it is very silly. And then they proceed to not stand up at all. Like they seemed like they make up their mind.
Don't spoil it. We got to break it down as we go here.
Okay. Okay, sure.
Then the girls start arriving one by one. The girls we
I
already
feel
know.
like when we first see Jumi, the hosts also lose their minds in a
Oh,
similar
they
way.
lose their minds over every girl.
Because everybody's all dressed up, and they are all the current girl residents are all kind of wearing like a white or cream or like very pale pink dress. So
Yeah.
they're all like sort of uniform, even though they're very different dresses.
Do you think it's production's doing?
Yeah, yeah, I 100% think that's production.
I think so too, only because Yisu is gonna have the black dress to kind of
Yeah,
like
and
stand
they're
out,
trying to exactly.
and then they're gonna like really hype her up, like, oh, like she looks so confident, like kind of she's like a confident girl, and then she's like as shy, if not shyer, than all the other girls when she gets there. So I don't know if that's the dress that Yisu would have chosen if she got to pick. I don't know.
Well, I feel they might have just been like wear a black dress, not necessarily that production
Oh
picked out the
yeah,
dress.
yeah.
So
But they had some
on a
influence
certain
on it.
level,
Yeah.
like she's at least confident enough to pick that dress out.
Oh yeah, so Jumi comes in first. She pokes her head in the bar and then immediately retreats out.
This is really cute.
I guess out of embarrassment because like all the guys are there and she's the first girl. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, they're all like looking her way because there is a glass like hallway that the guys can all see through while the girls are coming up to the door. And so like it's not like she surprised them by coming in. They're like, "Oh, she's coming. We'll look at the door when she comes in." And they're all just like staring at her and she's like, "Oh," and goes back in.
I'm out of here. Jumi starts approaching the table. And then in
Yeah,
a
and while-
scramble, the guys are deciding whether or not they should stand for Jumi.
Yeah, like Gyore's like, "This is embarrassing. We should like greet her warmly." And he like moves like he's gonna stand up, but then Mingyu and Jiwon are like, "Should we stand up?" And no one does anything, and it's awkward.
They panic and no one stands up.
But Hushin manages to be the chillest of all of them and just tell her that she's beautiful. So, you know, points for Hushin, I guess.
Hushin tells Jumi that she looks beautiful. Okay. Let's note that down.
Okay.
For later. They also don't stand up when Jimin arrives.
Mhm.
Okay. Jimin gets there and Mingyu takes the lead this time and makes a joke and says, "It's nice to meet you." Which is, I think it's a
Yes.
clever and funny way to say, like, "Oh, you look amazing." like you're a different person, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Although I guess this might be
But-
insulting to the.
Yeah, I was gonna say
other
you always
form.
find the insulting way to be like, "Oh, does that mean I don't look good the rest of the time, or I'm so unrecognizable?" Yeah, no, but it was cute.
Yeah. I think you would take it as positive, though.
Yeah, definitely.
Jimin gives all the guys a good look down. Did you notice that? She like
Yes,
goes left to right
Yes.
and just like looks at them.
Hushin's like, "Well, which of us look the best?" And she says he does, and he's like, "You know, it's hard for me to not look handsome."
Hushin's so funny here.
This is the guy who a couple days ago was like, "Don't take my picture, I look weird."
Yeah. Well, it's not a picture. He's good in live action.
That's
But once you
true,
take a
yeah.
picture, yeah, Hushin is great here. It's hard to me not to be handsome.
And Jiwon said something like, everyone's been hiding their powers. And I'm like, what? The power to look good in formal wear? Yeah, when you dress up, people look better. That's just what it is.
All right, Sarah. Yep, you have to choose which one of us
Oh,
looks the best. This is what you get. No context. This is Jimin just got asked this question. Boom.
oh.
You're in the moment. You're Jimin. Answer the
Am I
question.
Jimin?
Yeah, you're
Well,
Jimin.
I mean, it's got to be Jiwon, right? He's got that 3-piece suit on, and she is infatuated with him. So there you go.
Well, she didn't say that.
I know she didn't, but
You don't have to factor her feelings into it. I'm just asking.
you told me I'm her.
Well, you're in her moment in time. Yeah, but you're
Okay,
not
answer's
literally
still
have
the
her
same.
brain.
I love a 3-piece suit.
All right, that was gonna be my guess. I would have been surprised if you said Hushin because it wasn't. He didn't go all out with the suit.
That's true. I like the extra layers to a suit. That's
But are
fun.
you still only grading the suit or the person?
I mean, they are all attractive people on this show.
I know you have to
so
pick one. You're Jimin.
I did pick one.
All right, okay, G1. All right, interesting. Okay, I have no idea.
Okay.
I mean, I think Hushin looks the coolest because he's in the least amount of formal wear. So
Yeah, but you don't
that's my
particularly love
breakdown.
suits.
Yeah,
So there you
I
go.
hate wearing them. They're not comfortable and they make me feel awkward.
Okay. Fair enough.
Okay, here we go. They talk about drinking tonight. Jiyeon has not
Mhm.
showed up yet.
Yes.
G1 says, "Let's drink like we did yesterday. It'll be fun."
And then Jumi's like, no, we'll get in trouble.
Yeah, classic big sister Jumi right there.
But like that implies that they drank enough to get in trouble last night. Like,
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. And then Jumi says that Mingyu said he wouldn't save the girl's number. Like they knew they were anticipating the new girl coming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like all this happened last night, and they were drinking, and then later we're gonna find out that like some of them, I think like Gyaorei and Mingyu, like don't even remember going to bed,
Yeah. So it
What?
was a lot of drinking.
and then they said Mingyu was like super cute when he was drunk. Like
But
something
they did not elaborate. I
something
don't.
happened,
So who
right?
knows?
Or maybe like nothing happened, but like their whatever they felt in the moment, like they felt like it
Mhm.
was a big night, but like if you watched it on camera, it was like nothing. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know if we're gonna get any flashbacks from this night or not.
I don't
This secret night that happened. Okay.
know.
All right, Jiyeon arrives, and the guys don't stand for her. All right, 0 for 3 with the standing.
Yes.
All right, interesting.
But I will say that Gyori looks like he's all like I wrote that he looked like he couldn't breathe when she showed up. Like he's
Oh, really?
still so smitten with her.
I saw him. He gave a little quick glance at her, like gave her the look down after she got to the table. I did think that was legitimate. They do a lot of things with like showing people's facial reactions, but you can't tell the moment it happened in. But
Yeah.
that one, I feel like you could tell he was actually looking at her.
Yeah. And trying to not look like he was looking at her.
Yeah. Apparently, there's some shenanigans going on with the food tonight as well. They already ordered food before Jiyeon got there.
Hmm.
Weird. Okay.
But they said they can order more, so it's
I
fine.
mean, you can always order more, but it's still weird. It's only going to get weirder with the food.
Okay.
This whole situation does not go the way I thought it was going to go. Okay, and then Hushin says, all 3 of them are so beautiful. All right.
Yeah.
Now he has said it about all of them, right?
Nice and even, yeah, nice even coverage there.
Okay. Let's put a pin in that. We'll get back to that later.
Okay.
Then there's a lot of awkward silence at this table, which is kind
So
of weird.
much.
Like, are they just out of their element in these clothes? Are they just
I think they're
nervous?
all very tense because they know a new person's about to show up and
It's
don't
just
know
the
if
new
they
girl.
should start or not. And also, yeah, fundamentally, they're all a little awkward.
Yeah, the show definitely made it an awkward situation by like not giving them the exact details of what was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like they're not this awkward at the house anymore, right? Like this is just
Yeah.
whatever
That's
this
true.
is in this moment. They're like being super awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the show makes it seem like Jiyeon is trying to make eye contact with Mingyu, but Mingyu never looks.
Yeah.
You buying that?
I mean, I'm buying it based on stuff that happens later.
I don't know
yeah.
who Mingyu is making eye contact with, but
I feel like he's trying not to almost like
with
just
anybody.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because he doesn't want to like oversell anything in a like it seems like a lot of his behavior this episode is trying to preserve that second option but not
Maybe. I don't
like I just feel like he's trying to not ruin anything with either of them even though he's clearly like gonna spend all his time on Jimin. Because there's a couple times where he could just be really forthright about something, but maybe that would mess up something else. You know, he's being overly cautious in a way that I think is kind of detrimental to the long-term plan of having a second option. But I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, Mingyu's choices in this episode are interesting. We'll have to go through them as we go.
Mhm.
I definitely have a lot to say, but not at this time in my notes. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Gyeore doesn't remember going to sleep last night. Jimin asks Mingyu if he remembers anything from last night. He says no and smiles. What the hell happened last night?
Or maybe he's feeling embarrassed about whatever he did that was cute, and he's like, "Nope, can't remember it. Sorry, we can't talk about it now. I forgot."
Yeah, he could be lying, yeah. I'm kind of glad like they didn't show them just being drunk and talking, because I usually don't like that part of these shows.
Yeah.
It almost feels like something important happened and they're leaving it out, but I don't know. Yeah, Jimin says, it's the first time I saw Oppa Guman drink. You were cute.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
She also, at some point, looks right at Jiwon and is like, I haven't seen you in forever. Come home. And so, like, she's still making eyes at him.
Yeah.
Or at
I mean, if
least
you're
trying.
Jiwon, that means nothing, because, like, I feel like all the girls are saying that to him, right? Like, in some sense, right?
I mean, she's the one literally, like, making a point to say it, and she's
they're
doing her cute face.
they're
and,
still the one they're showing say it, yeah.
I don't know, but she says it in that charming way. She says things, you know, where she's just, I don't know. I think she's being kind of cute at him.
Yeah. I don't know. At this point, maybe Jimin being charming doesn't mean anything. Just her existing in the world.
All right.
After this episode. But then Hushin wants to know if he was cute too. Last night when they were drunk. And the girls just all say that he was. But Hushin jumps in. Hushin's super funny.
Yeah, he is.
In this whole scene. All right. Then they're going to get a mysterious note given to them by the waiter,
yes,
whatever
because their food shows up, and also a mysterious note. And it says, the fourth female occupant is here. After enjoying the welcome party with her, please return to Signal House together.
Okay, Sarah, what did you think was going to happen after they got this note? Just tell me how you thought this was going to go down.
It's very awkward. It feels like she should have just shown up, or like right after the note, or you didn't need a note. She could have just shown up.
Yeah.
That's not what happens at all.
That's what would have made sense. Like, okay, she's going to walk in the front door and they're going to be like, oh, she must be the fourth girl. And then she comes over, right?
Yeah.
But then this note was weird where they're like, where the note is like, she is already here.
Yeah, so everybody's like, do we need to go look for her? Is she sitting at a table?
Yeah, so then they start like looking around the restaurant, like playing like Where's Waldo, like trying to figure out.
But then Hushin's like, nah, I think we should eat first, which I love as a response.
Yeah, he's like, if we start eating, they'll be like, oh, I have to go over before they eat everything. Yeah, they are so confused. Mingyu jokingly suggests that they just go around the bar and ask girls if they're part of the show. Which would have been fun to see.
Yeah, I can't imagine these awkward group of boys doing that. Like, I think Hushin probably would. And maybe Jiwon, but the other two, not a chance.
Hey, are you supposed to be going to Single House later?
Am I supposed to go on some random dates with you? What's going on?
Yeah, they really made it seem like they got this note and then they sat there for a while, like having no idea what was going on. This was the way they did this is so interesting.
Yeah.
All right, and then they already have their food, and they haven't. They end up not eating, right? Like they're waiting for the fourth girl.
They start to dig in a little bit.
Maybe. Okay.
Like as soon as it shows up, they start to dig in, but the note also showed up at the same time, so there was an awkward far. Yeah, they didn't quite get super far, but there's a little bit of food that has happened.
All right, then let me give you the breakdown of what happens here. All right, so they're just, they don't know if they should eat. They're looking around the restaurant, super confused. And then a girl that is already seated at a different table.
Eating... No, there is a spotlight.
Oh, that's a spotlight. Yeah, no, I have the spotlight. Don't worry. Yeah, eating with other people gets a bit of a spotlight put on them in the restaurant. And then the girl makes creepy stalker eye contact with their table. What?
Yeah, I
What's
mean,
happening?
he had to have been there just watching them interact the whole time, right? Like
Yeah.
since they it's so
But
weird.
she was like too far away to hear them, right? Unless they like gave her an earpiece or something. Like,
I have no idea.
yeah, she gave like the creepiest look. And then she
But
walks
then she
over to
like
them to join.
not only does she walk, it seems like she takes the longest possible route to get there because like all the guys stand up immediately, but like they're
Oh,
standing
that's your
for a
breakdown?
while.
No, no, no,
Except like okay, I will say 3 of the guys stand up to greet her, and
no.
Gyure stands up to serve himself some food, which is hilarious. Like he's just not about this.
All
New
right, that
girl
is
at
not my
all.
breakdown.
It's not.
No. Hushin stands up
Oh, he does
to
stand
greet
up
her.
first.
But the other guys were not ready for this. And then all the other guys followed Hushin's lead and also stood up. And then the girls started having the same conversation the girls were having, the guys were having. And we're like, hey, should we be standing up too? What should we be doing?
That's true.
And then ultimately, the girls do stand up. Oh, but yeah, it was definitely Hushin making the move here, right?
That's fair, yeah. But I got so distracted by Gyure only standing up actually to serve himself food.
Well, he didn't know how committed he should be to standing up. You know, he was like, I'm going to stand up, but then I'm going to get food. And then he's like still playing the gray area.
I think he's just not that bothered about this new girl because he is hyper focused on Ji-young.
Gyaore is, you think?
Yeah.
He didn't even text Ji-young yesterday.
What even was yesterday? I don't remember.
He texted Jumi after talking to Ji-young.
Well, that's because he was being all self-conscious about having just told her about his feelings and didn't want to like burden her further or whatever bullshit.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So she walks over to join them, and then yeah, we get some more comments from the host as she walks over, and we're seeing her face this time, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I think we also get some comments from just the people standing at the table, but it was kind of hard to tell.
Oh yeah,
who was
Ji-young
talking.
Definitely says she looks like a really chic cat.
Oh, Ji-young says that.
Ji-young says that, yeah.
Which must have been the proud cat thing that was in the previous last episode, but it got changed to chic, which makes more sense, I think, that it's chic than proud. Yeah. Okay. But okay, I got more things that people saying about this girl. You ready?
Yep.
She has a different vibe than the 3. I like referring to the 3 girls, the original girls, as the 3 from now on.
Okay.
She's a totally different style. She's really tall, which I believe one of the guys at the table said.
Yeah,
maybe?
I think so.
I don't know who said it though. Jumi says she's so pretty, and then Hushin stands up. And then all the other guys stand up.
And then all the women stand up.
And then the women can't decide if they should, but then they do. She looks like a really chic cat. Wow, is she a model? She has a model's swagger. Boom. That's Yisu.
All right.
All right.
I love that she comes up to the table next to an empty seat and asks where she should sit. Probably because production told her she's supposed to sit at the far end in the middle or whatever, but it was.
But that's not where they put the plate.
Silly.
That's not where they put the
yeah
the place where somebody should sit.
Yeah, so like she asked where to sit, and all the women shuffle out of the way and go, "Oh yeah, you should go over here in the middle." And it
the head of the table.
Yeah.
So just to scooch past all the other women.
Yes.
Just so much more awkward than it needed to be.
Yes, but at least, well, I don't know if this is editing or whatever, but it seems like they've learned, and Ji-won immediately asks her name. So, we have not gone through the whole, oh, you've been in the house for 20 minutes. Maybe I should ask you what your name is situation we had last time.
Yeah. Yisu. Like I said before, they made it seem like she was going to be super confident, but then she was like very shy immediately. Like as soon as she started talking, like, oh, this is another shy person. Maybe not that much different of a vibe than the 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just they made her wear a different color dress
look
and they gave her a spotlight when she walked in. So it seemed very dramatic.
And then it gets weirder because she tells them that she's actually already eaten.
Yes.
What? Why, Sarah? Why?
Probably because production took forever, and she was like, I haven't eaten all day. I'm very hungry. And they're like, here, have some food. I don't know. They didn't plan it out well. Or they want this to be super awkward. I'm not sure.
Maybe
She's supposed to be answering a lot of questions while everybody else eats or something. I don't know.
And then they say, well, we really haven't started eating yet. But I guess she does drink with them. But
yes.
Yeah, why? Why couldn't they just all start eating together? What
I don't know.
Here? Even G1 was first. Everybody could get here. But if G1's here, everybody can get here on time.
Exactly. But I think they cut out a part where everybody introduces themselves and tells her their job and their name or whatever. And then she says that she's actually heard of Hushin. And apparently he was in New York with her friend. And she says that he's quite famous. And he's like, yes, I'm really famous.
I'm really famous.
Of course he says that.
But he's joking, no? Like he actually has like no idea what. Well, he does. She names the friend that they have in common, and he does know that person. But he has like no idea who she is, and
yeah, exactly.
But he's not gonna deny that he's famous. Well, he's at least gonna joke about it.
And she's actually seen his paintings, and nobody in the house has yet. So I think Ji-young asks about how his paintings are, and she does not describe his work at all. She just says where she's seen some. And I'm like, I would really love for someone to describe his work. I would just want to see what, like, that's an awkward
you've
thing.
Seen his work, Sarah. How would
I've seen his work, but I want to hear them describe it, you know? It's an awkward situation to be like, oh, the artist is right over there. Now I have to describe that man who was fucking that wolf in that painting I saw, you know?
Well, later they show a flashback of Ji-young and Hushin like looking at an art book together that was like in the house, and they were using words like grotesque and scary and disturbing or depressing to describe the art they were looking at. Do you think Hushin will get similar words?
No, I mean, if there are people who know things about art, they will say he's got a surrealist style, I think, you know.
Oh, okay.
And they'll probably say something like, I think he was using a lot of like bright colors, so they'll probably latch onto that. But I'm just curious how someone would describe this man's art to a table where he is at, you know? I just want to hear it.
Before they started talking about how she knew him, though, Hushin tries to say nice to meet you to her, and then his voice cracks while he says it.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Even the super cool guy is just brought down to...
It happens.
To weird awkwardness.
It doesn't have to mean anything, but it just happens sometimes.
The host made it seem like it meant something.
Yeah, it's also kind of weird where she's seen his painting. So, like, I think she's seen photographs of the paintings, and then... But she was in London.
She said she was in London at a photographer studio, and either one of his paintings was there, or it was a photo of his painting or something, so... And he seemed to not know how it got there.
Yeah, like it seemed like he had never been to London. He doesn't know why his stuff would be in London, but that's why I thought they were pictures of it. Like
maybe
some photographer like was highlighting them. You feel like she said they were in a studio. Like you think you would need his permission to show it, but I don't know.
Well, it might just be somebody bought one of his paintings.
Oh, it could be.
You know, it's made its way around, you know?
Maybe, yeah.
At a certain point, he's going to lose track of where his paintings go if he sells them, you know?
Yeah, she said this when she saw his stuff in London. That was like 2 years ago. So that's the timeline here. And then we get to meet Yisu for real. Right, Sarah?
Yes. We find out about her job.
What's her age? What's her age?
That's what she's 26.
Oh, missed the window, G1. Too bad. This ain't no Nuna.
Not a Nuna for him.
Okay.
She is a casting agent at a like television commercial production company.
Yeah.
And she models on the side, which is not surprising. The moment like when she was tall and like when she said she knew Hushin, I was like, because they've modeled together clearly. But
oh yeah, I forgot Hushin modeled.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what it is though.
No, it's not. She just knows a friend of his or whatever. But
yeah. And does she model on the side or just like sometimes she will just cast herself for the commercials she's casting for?
I mean, she says she models sometimes too, and that sounds different than is in commercials.
Sometimes. I thought she said she models sometimes too in the context of like they were asking her about casting herself in commercials.
Oh,
But like maybe she would
well,
only
I
do it if
think.
it was like a model, like she didn't have to do lines or anything, in the commercial.
Well, I just think like they were like, "Oh, you're so pretty. Of course you could cast
Oh
yourself."
yeah,
And she's like,
they
"Oh,
always
yes,
say
I'm
that.
pretty. I model sometimes too." I
Okay.
don't know that it's the same
I don't know
thing,
if she said it with such confidence, but
I mean, that's the context I took it in. Like
okay.
why she brought up the modeling then.
Um, we had her video package. She seems like another very busy person, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Seems legit.
Yeah.
Also, she cannot cook. Always a key factor.
Yes. But Jumi says that they all suck at cooking, so it's fine.
We've been eating literal trash for the last 2 weeks. No, you haven't. I'm pretty sure they've been doing fine.
Yeah.
And then they ask her out of nowhere, hey, who do you want to cook with first?
Yes. Jiwon is like, pick your first cooking partner. And she's just like, isn't this too forward?
This is too
awkward.
forward.
Don't make me pick a man right now, please. And he's just like, no, it's
Like,
just
no,
cooking.
it's just
It
cooking.
doesn't mean anything. It's fine.
I mean, it does mean something though, right?
It absolutely does. But she decides to pick Gyaore because he works in food and beverages.
Yeah.
And so she's like, bam, logic. Now you can't make this mean anything.
He may not have gotten into the details of how his business only does coffee. It just said the food and beverage industry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Looking forward to the Yisu Gyaore cooking later. Okay.
Yeah. He doesn't seem to feel one way or the other about it. Like, he did not have a big reaction.
I think Gyaore and Mingyu are just extra
They're
awkward.
just here.
Extra quiet. Yeah. But she doesn't want the pressure of cooking tomorrow. So
yeah.
they say she doesn't have to cook tomorrow. And then Hushin asks who wants to cook with him tomorrow. And then there's like an awkward silence.
And he's like, oh.
And then his like head just
because like
drops.
nobody jumps at it.
Yeah. But he's like, he laughs. I don't think it was that long though. And then Jian says she has time and can join him.
Yeah.
Not, I really want to, I'll cook with you. I want to cook with you. Just like,
somebody has to. I'll
yeah,
do it,
that's what it
sure.
seemed like, right?
A little bit, yeah. But I mean, really, who wants cooking duty anyway? I don't know that it has so much to do with him.
That's true. Yeah. Yisu says that she's shy. And then Hushin tells her not to worry because he's shy too. And then Jian
You can tell by how much he's talking.
And then Jian just laughs at this. Hushin is probably the least shy, like Jiwon and Hushin, probably the least shy.
Yeah, although he has in the past said he's shy, so like this isn't a lie he's come up with now. This is his story about who he is all the time.
Hushin, I wouldn't say Hushin is shy in groups, but then when he gets to like actually
one-on-ones,
dating a girl, he does come across as shy moments. Fair. Yeah, but I wouldn't say he's the most shy. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then I wrote, "Oh, is Jian gonna start liking Hushin more now because he's made the new person feel comfortable?"
Oh, there you go. Maybe.
That's Jian's type. All right. Anything else from the lounge bar?
It did not go on as long as I thought it would. Like, I thought this was going to be most of the episode, you know?
I mean,
like,
she already ate. Like, they eat really fast and leave. Like, this is so awkward.
Yeah, it's not much of a party. It's just a quick little meet and greet, and then they go home.
Yeah, I don't even know if they do eat, Sarah. Because they leave and go back to the house, and then they, like, change into comfier clothes. And then you know what you do when you get back from eating dinner. You eat more food, right? That's what they're going to do.
Maybe they were eating, like, drinking level food, you know? Like, when you go out to drink, you get some amount of food. Maybe it wasn't, like, dinner level food, and they thought it was going to be dinner. No, I mean when they were out. Like, maybe it wasn't quite dinner. It was more like drinking food, and they're like, still hungry. I don't know.
Okay, well, it's time for the next day.
Yep. And Yisu is immediately leaving the house.
Yeah.
So much for spending time with the new girl.
Yeah, she's going to work already. And then we have Jumi, Jiyoung, and Mingyu in the kitchen.
Yes. And Mingyu is going to work from home, but will also be back late, which is confusing until other confusing things happen.
Yeah, Jiyeon is asking Mingyu if he's working today and will he be out late. Mingyu said he's working from his house, but doesn't say when he'll be back. he like dodges it
Mm,
somehow.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think he does imply late, at least. He's just like,
Vague
later.
late.
Yeah.
And then Jumi and Ji-young leave the house together and go somewhere in a taxi. I don't know where they went. I don't know where they're going.
I think
We
they're
never
going
find
to
out. They're just
work.
carpooling, I guess.
Yeah, because
Or
we find out
taxi
they're
pooling.
either like they both work in the same area, or the one station that is close to somebody's job is a good station to take to get to the other one's job or something. There's logistical reasons why it's good for
Okay,
them.
but they're just
take
going
the
to
car
work.
together.
They
I think
didn't
so,
go
yeah.
anywhere together. It's just like
Right.
okay. And then Jumi and Jian are going to talk in the taxi. Jumi tells Jian that she seems like she's acting more hyper recently. So she wants to ask her if she's doing okay.
Yeah, because she can like tell that she's like being cheerful to like overcompensate for and cover up how she's really feeling.
Is that, have we gotten that? Or I feel like
Um,
we as the audience didn't really get to see that, but I guess Jumi is reading it right.
we get to see some of it in flashbacks, but like up to this point, we haven't seen it. I think it's because mostly they haven't shown us the parts yet where it happens. You know, they were saving it up for flashbacks for right now for whatever reason. Or it has been in the time since the last episode, I guess, when they were like hanging out after their mall trip or whatever. You know, like it's just an awkward time. They chose not to show us anything and are
Yeah.
just strategically flashing back.
We're going to get flashbacks that are going to reveal some stuff here, yeah. But I guess the word hyper is the word that's confusing me. Like, even in the flashbacks we're going to get, that's not like the word I would use to describe her.
Oh,
But
I wrote down cheerful.
cheerful?
Not necessarily hyper, but like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
Cheerful.
ultimately what it's going to be is like, she's just like going to do something that seems like she's trying to make a move and people are picking up on it. And I don't know if that's what she means by hyper.
I think what she means is that
But-
face that she makes when she's trying to
face.
not look sad. You know, like she's got a face that she makes when she's like,
okay. I've
oh,
not
this
picked
is
up on
not
this.
going the way that I wanted it to. Here's my smile that doesn't quite reach my eyes.
Oh, okay. Okay, hyper is just a weird word for that, but okay.
Yeah.
We'll move on.
But yeah, Ji Young says she feels like she's become invisible.
Yeah. And she is upset.
Yes. Because Mingyu is ignoring her.
Yeah, this is specifically talking about Mugen and Mingyu and not just like in general, like not getting texts or whatever. I mean, she is actually getting texts, so
Yeah, she's getting a lot of texts.
it has to be Mingyu.
Yeah,
Is she
it's
getting a lot of
Mingyu.
texts? Yeah, I guess she is actually getting a lot of texts. I feel
Yeah.
invisible, but I'm getting the most texts out of everybody in the house.
Yeah, but it's not from the person that she actually wants.
Then yeah, she's definitely 100% on Mingyu then. Okay.
And she's also like worried that she came on too strong or whatever. So it's like very pointed about one person in particular.
Yeah, which is like
Mingyu.
totally the wrong read, right? Like it's, if anything, she's too passive, right? Like
I don't know that she's overly like she does try to make this like meetup with him happen, but he keeps just like not answering questions or diverting the conversation to something
okay.
else.
Well, okay, let's break it down.
Okay, we get a flashback to 2 days ago. We get a lot of
Yeah.
flashbacks and flashbacks inside of other flashbacks.
Before the flashback though, let's just
Okay.
yeah, she's like worried that Mingyu Oppa is drawing a line between them. But then Jumi
Yeah.
says he's not the type of guy to do that, which seems like the right read, right? Jumi seems pretty accurate with this stuff.
Yeah, but like I feel like the distinction here is like drawing a line would be very clearly being like, no, this is never gonna happen. Whereas he is allowing it to be like, I'm not gonna officially end it, but I'm very much hyper focused on this other girl, you know, like
Yeah, okay.
he's not giving her all the attention that you would or any of the attention that you would give someone you were actively pursuing, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, even if he's not ending it, the read of, like, things are not exactly progressing between them is right.
I think that's a fair read from Jiyeon and Jumi's perspective, but they don't have all the information. So it's actually, from Mingyu's perspective, I don't actually know 100%.
Okay.
But yeah, but here we go. Jumi asks Jiyeon if she ever expressed her feelings to him, and because Jumi thinks she's not being obvious
Mm-hmm.
enough. And then Jiyeon says that she's been texting Mingyu, but not making it obvious that it's her.
Yeah.
So this is where I'm saying she's being too passive.
On that front, but I think, like, they had a really good date together. I don't know that she has to come out and say, hey, I'm into you in order for him to answer questions she asks about when they might hang out, you know? Like, she does legit in these flashbacks try to set up a time to like hang out together.
She gets unlucky with the timing of that whole situation. Yeah.
Yeah. But he could have handled it so many other ways.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, but here's the thing though. This is what, like, we don't get to see these texts in like the last few rotations.
Yeah.
And we know that Jimin is not texting Mingyu, right?
So whatever vague text Ji-young is sending, he might be reading as coming from Jimin.
Exactly. So like her passiveness is definitely contributing to the confusion here, I think. I mean, we're not seeing the exact messaging of the text, but if what she's saying is right, she's just giving like in general comments that Mingyu might just optimistically think are Jimin.
Yeah.
So if she was being more specific and she was making it obvious it was her, maybe he would be realizing that Jimin is actually not texting him, because he's getting a lot of texts. Even Jumi's texting him.
Yeah.
And Jumi's probably, if I had to guess, making it more obvious that it's her.
Well, she did pull him aside and go, "Hey, I've been texting you."
Yeah.
So there's at least that.
Basically, he's like, he thinks he's getting texts from Jumi, and then the other ones are from Jimin, I think is what he thinks.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
But I still think with how good the date went and how he keeps like avoiding her trying to hang out, it's like I get why she feels this way. And he could have handled it differently.
We haven't even gotten to
I know, we have to, so I can talk about it.
I know, but there's still so much to talk about here. I feel like you're insinuating that like she tried to hang out several days in a row and he kept dodging it, but it's literally this very specific moment in time that was not the right time to ask.
Well, no, she asks about one particular day several times. And just the fact that he doesn't give her a clear answer.
He could tell the truth, but
he doesn't even have to tell the truth. He could just be like, "I'm busy that day. What about Wednesday?"
I guess he could do that. Yeah.
It's very easy. What about any other fucking day of the week?
But he does ask, like, doesn't he ask something weird like, he asks like, "Do you work every other day or something?" Or I don't know.
So many days they could figure this shit out.
There was some context that made it seem like Ji-yeon like wouldn't be available any other day, but I don't know. All right, but let's just break down this. Why is she not making it obvious that it's her in the text? Is like she doesn't want to burden him, or like is she just a passive type of person? Like I don't. You're not gonna shit on her here, like you always do.
No, I'm not gonna shit on her
at
all.
Really?
Wait, why would I shit on her?
Like you're not seeing the text to shit on her, but like usually you're like, oh, if you're not making it obvious it's you, then you're doing it wrong.
Well, yeah. She's definitely doing the text wrong. 100%.
Okay. I don't get. I don't really know why she's not making it obvious it's her.
Because she's probably not used to like being the person pursuing someone. You know, we see that a lot with women on these shows, right? And it can be very stressful on that front. And that's probably it. Like, if that's my guess. Like, she's not used to pursuing someone. It's an awkward feeling to like put yourself out there. And even though you're on a dating show, she's like, they had a good date, so she's expecting him to like follow through with that. But he's not.
Yeah. I mean, he texted her once, and that was it.
Yeah.
I feel like she's just super passive because like I don't think she's made a move with anybody that was particularly like her leading the way, right?
I mean, she's trying to make a move here in these flashbacks.
She is. This is the first time she's going to try, and it's not going to work.
Yeah. So to the actual flashback now. It's like 2 days ago, and all 3 girls are in Mingyu's room with him because everyone's obsessed with him.
No, you didn't describe this right.
Not really.
You messed up the description.
They're all sitting on his bed.
Mingyu has all 3 girls in his bed.
Okay, there.
This bro is crushing it right now.
Sort of.
Dude, how often do we see 3 women in one guy's bed on these shows? Never. First time ever.
Yeah. Okay, but wait till the end of this episode, and then we'll talk again about how much he is or is not crushing it.
He's doing fine. There's also a 4th girl. He can just...
He's already promised not to save her phone number. He can't.
He'll just memorize it. He doesn't have to write it down.
So they're all hanging out, and Ji-young asks him if he works on Tuesday and for how long. And then Jumi kind of like jokingly is like, "Oh, you're trying to ask him out on a date?" Which sucks that she says that because it does make Ji-young really like, "No, just stop."
I thought that was funny. Like, that's good. I like that Jumi comment.
But I mean, it sucks for Ji-young because she feels very awkward about it then, you know?
I think she's helping the situation more than anything.
I think she's trying to, but I don't know. Like,
I mean, they're going to get unlucky that Mingyu already has plans with Jimin, but
yeah,
I don't know. If that wasn't the case, I feel like it would be funny. I think it's helpful. I feel like it's an awkward comment from Jumi because like she also probably wants to go on a date with him, and that's why she's saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, how much is she lawyering here? Or, trying to just like make this awkward. I don't know.
Okay.
But basically Ji Young's trying to be like, we come from the same place, like we work in the same area, so maybe we could come home together,
Yeah. I feel like there are a few moments this episode where like someone is actually like stealing the move of a previous person in the show. Like she's literally like the move she came up with was like, oh, Mingyu agreed to pick up Jimin after school. Maybe he'll agree to pick me up after work. Like this is the move, right?
I mean, you gotta take your whatever chance you can get,
Okay. But like she could just ask him out like, hey, you want to go get food or go drinking, or well, she doesn't drink, or does she? Like does she like, do you just want to do something after work on Tuesday? But she's like asking him in the context of like, oh hey, we work in the same area, do you want to like carpool together, which like isn't as forward as it's still like a little passive, even though it's as aggressive as she has been all season.
Yeah, it feels less risky to her.
Yeah.
Like she's not used to asking people out, so she's like, this is her version of it. Is the closest she can get is be like, maybe we could be in the same car at the same time, if that's okay.
Yeah. But from Mingyu's perspective, now I'm not.
Oh, there's 100% no way he misinterprets this, right? Like he's already been through it with Jimin, right? Like
it's not.
Pick me up. Let's hang out, right?
I guess so, but like if you had two offers on the table. And one is I'm going on a real date with Jimin, and one is someone probably is asking me on the date, but it's just this generic like.
Then you go, hey, how about Wednesday? That's all you do. You go, hey, how about Wednesday?
He's got to leave Wednesday open for another date with Jimin.
Or he could just be like, case. I'm busy on Tuesday, and then like he could just say some fucking words. That's my only problem with him right now.
He might be busy the rest of his life after this date with Jimin.
Then say that. Be like, I think I'm marrying this woman on Tuesday. I can't. Like, just say some words instead of not saying anything.
Yeah. There's no reason to like be secretive. I agree. I just
He doesn't even have to tell her what he's busy with. He could just be like, I'm busy that day, or no thank you. Instead of just like, do you go to work every day now? And then like never responding to the actual question.
Yeah, I mean, when she says, what time do you finish? He says, I'm not sure yet, which is kind of like a vague, I'm busy. Like he's not.
No, it's, I don't know when I'm finished with work. It's not the same. Like that implies like she can ask him when he gets closer, or maybe it'll happen, or it's a not answer. The boy should use the words that mean things. I know you love this guy. I know you identify with him, but some fucking words, he needs to use them.
I'm not disagreeing with you. Like, yeah, like if it's me, I'm just like, oh, Jimin and I have plans actually. And then, yeah, I would probably say what you're saying, like, let's pick another day or something.
Mm-hmm.
I guess what I'm trying to think of it as is like, how much is Mingyu, is this him like actively trying to avoid her?
I mean,
I don't think he is necessarily actively trying to avoid her. He just doesn't know how to handle this situation, and it's just a bad timing. And he's not like, yeah, he's not responding in an optimal way, but I don't know that really means that he's like closing off the door from Ji-yeon, because...
Well, he's decidedly not closing off the door is the thing.
Oh, that's what you
But he's also like not talking to her, and is making her feel shitty. And then like when we get to like when they're at the party waiting for the new girl, like he's just not even looking at her. And it's a very weird way to treat someone as an adult. I mean, he was kind of looking at Jimin.
Was he? Okay. I'm not gonna invest in when they choose to show camera shots for hours.
Well, it's not just that. Like she like says like he's just like he won't like when she's in this car with Gia,
she feels that way. Yeah, she definitely feels that way. Yeah. So when Jumi asks him or says, "Oh, will you ask him out on a date?" when she's like trying to do it, she laughs and then she's like, "No, I need to go out on Tuesday as well."
Yeah, she gets real flustered.
They're both like not being fully clear though. That's why I'm not like, oh,
okay, but she's actually asking like for what she wants. Like she wants to spend time with him, right? So she's asking for that, and Like, if you're gonna put anybody at fault here in this situation, is the person who won't just say no, I'm busy that day. Like, it's the easiest thing.
Yeah, it's equally easy for her to choose a different day too, though. I don't know. I'm not gonna.
Well, no,
So
she
they
doesn't
fail.
know that he's busy though. Like, it feels to her like he doesn't want to hang out with her. Not that Tuesday's bad. So like she's gonna
I
feel
see what
bad
you're
about it
saying.
and not be like, oh well, what about a different day? She's just like, why the fuck aren't you saying some words to me? Like, except less angry because she's cute and adorable.
Yeah, I don't know. I get where you're coming from. I just don't think that's like 100% what the situation is. But
I mean, it would 100% solve the situation.
yeah, they're both just so similar that they're both so passive. That's honestly how I read this.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
it's like, yeah, because she just says like, "Oh, my work is close to where Opa works, and I thought we could return after work." Like
Yeah.
she's not like being like, "I thought we could do something and then come back to the house, do something together and then come back to the house." Like it never gets that far. And Mingyu's like, yeah, he's not focused on her right now, so he doesn't immediately assume this is like her asking out a date, or maybe he does.
Oh, I
but
think he knows what's going on.
he's literally
He
has
just
a
doesn't know how
date
to
with
handle
the
it.
girl he wants to date today.
Which is
What the fuck
fine.
is
Just
else should you
say
think
some
about?
words. Thinking about how awkward it is to live with somebody who he just had a really good date with, but is not like the person he actively wants to date. That's what he's thinking about.
You think so?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that's the case. I mean, the man is just really into this one girl right now, you know?
Yeah, so shut another girl down if
And-
that's the business, you know? Like, don't just not talk. Like, I got really annoyed with him right here. It's like, just
Really?
say some
Okay.
words.
I mean, Gian is not like confessing her love and then he's not responding. It's like, it's not a strong thing.
Yeah, she's not asking for a lot either. But like, if I went, hey, can you give me a ride home from work tomorrow? You would say some fucking words.
Here's the other thing, though, about this whole situation is that we haven't got the scene yet where like eventually everybody's going to leave the house and then it's only Jimin and Mingyu in the house.
Uh-huh.
And it kind of seems like Mingyu might be worried that she doesn't remember that they
Oh yeah, yeah.
have the date, right? So he also might be like thinking like, well, maybe Jimin doesn't remember the date and I will be able to do something with Jian tonight, but I actually like I literally don't know yet. Like
But,
what's
like,
going to happen.
We also find out that Jimin thinks he forgot because in that circumstance he didn't say, "Oh, I'm busy." So like he would have put everybody at ease if he had just been like, "I'm busy. Let's do another day."
Well, Jimin got confused because she's in the room when this other when this is happening, where he's like
Yes.
deflecting because he doesn't actually know if he fully has a date tonight because he's worried the person doesn't. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think he's necessarily coming from, the exact angle that you're saying. It's I think it's harder to read than just that. There's more layers to it.
The angle is he feels awkward, but
Oh my
he still
God.
should have said some words. Like, I'm not saying he should have been like, "Oh yeah, of course I'll take you."
If he was being 100% honest, like this is what he would say if you're saying you're right. He would say, "Well, I think Jimin and I have a date tonight. Jimin, is that right?" And then
He
she
doesn't
would
even
be
have to
like,
say
"Yeah."
that.
I don't like
I'm not saying he has to make a big decision here. I'm just saying he has to have the human decency to answer a fucking question. Just
he
be
actually
like,
doesn't know if he's
"No."
busy though.
Well, then he could say, "I don't know if I'm busy that day. Maybe we can do it another day." See how fucking easy that is? It's
He
so
did say
easy.
that. He said, "I'm not sure yet."
No, he said he wasn't sure when he was getting off of work. Like, she brings it up again later, and like he also just deflects, like in a weird, like non-committal sort of way.
Yeah. Well, he literally doesn't know until the day of because he doesn't confirm. He could confirm with Jimin, I guess,
That
earlier.
I don't. That doesn't change anything for me. He just should have said, "I think I'm busy."
Okay. There's a lot more that's going to happen here that you could be frustrated with Mingyu about. Like this this conversation was whatever.
I'm not like anti-Mingyu or anything. I just think the dumb boy should have said some words in this moment, and it just causes a lot of extra confusion for no reason amongst many girls.
Yeah, I think they both could be doing more. But that's not them. That's not their style.
Well, I think she did
See,
did most of the work here.
So here's the thing. The reason you're so convinced, or part of the reason that you're so convinced and that the show feels that way to you, and probably to a lot of people. A lot of people are gonna probably agree with you on this, but
Uh-huh.
it's because Jumi tells Jian that she saw what she was trying to do. Right?
No, I feel this way because Ji Young is sad because this man
Oh.
won't respond to her because she's not sure what happened and he won't be direct with her. And all he
Okay.
needed to do was say, "I'm busy. How about
Oh,
another
you're just
day?"
upset because
Or
Jian is sad about it. Oh, okay.
no,
I
I'm
gotcha.
upset because like it's the basic human decency of just like, sorry, busy, or no, thank you. Like that's it. Because then we get a flashback to one day ago, and like Jumi's trying to do Ji Young a solid, and she's like, "The weather's gonna be so nice on Tuesday," and then Ji Young looks expectantly at Minkyu, and he just looks away.
What does he know about? What does he know what Tuesday means at that point? It's just a thing that's been said in a room.
Well, she like because she had brought it up again, like I think right before that. She's like,
I actually couldn't tell what the order of these flashbacks was. I see
yeah, the
what you're saying.
flashbacks are a little weird, but it did look like she brought it up again, and she's like, I'm in that area, you're in that area, we might as well come home from work
Yeah.
together. And he again avoids any sort of talk about
Yeah.
like he just
It's
doesn't say
so
he's busy.
It's so passive how Jian brings it up though that like
No,
a
she
distracted
brings
man
it up.
is not
She
gonna
literally brings it up. He notices. That's the bullshit.
he notices it, but not like the intensity. Like not I would not think if I was Mingyu that like, oh, by like not responding to this, Jian is gonna be like upset and sad.
But like this is the second time she's asking him about it. And he's just
Okay.
not being like, I'm busy or no thank you. Like just answer. That's it. It's so basic. I get
Alright.
that he's distracted with Jimin, who he is obsessed with. I get it. But like, you live in a house with other people. Just say some words.
All right. So Mingyu and Jimin are the only ones.
Only ones in the house.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you know what time it is.
Time for another flashback where we're reminded that they were gonna get food on Tuesday.
Yeah, so we saw the scene before, but we didn't see them actually agree to a date. So they like show,
Yeah.
they make Mingyu probably look as bad as they could here by like showing him awkward and then explaining the awkwardness afterwards.
I don't know. The explanation of the awkwardness doesn't do it for me, but okay. It does not
Yeah.
it didn't magically make the situation better for me, but okay.
Yeah, Mingyu already agreed to get food with Jimmy.
Yeah.
Jimin after her classes on Tuesday. And then they go back to Tuesday in real time with them at the house. And then Mingyu casually / intentionally walks by Jimin in the makeup room and says hi.
Oh, and she's like, "Don't look at me. I don't have any makeup."
Gosh, no, I don't have any makeup on. Which is like I was wondering, Sarah, is this something that any like a girl would do if she wasn't interested in the guy?
Yeah.
They would still do it.
Yeah. If somebody is used to only ever going out with like makeup on, they might feel real self-conscious about anyone seeing them without it on.
Oh, okay. She was also listening to music at the time, so she like jumped. And all he said, he was just like, hi. And he didn't even stop. He just like, it was like a drive-by hi. So he didn't even actually like look in the room that much.
Yeah. But he startled her big time.
Yeah. And then, yeah, there's definitely this moment where like both of them had been thinking that maybe the other person forgot, but I think it's Mingyu just thought she might not remember. And then Jimin, I think, assumed that he would remember, but then because she overheard that conversation about Tuesday, was now thinking, oh, is he actually busy?
I think she says, like, I thought you forgot. And she does specifically bring up that conversation of, like, because you didn't say you were busy. So I guess you forgot about our plans. Like, he managed to make two girls sad.
I thought she was saying that he said he actually was busy, or she
No,
got the impression that he might be working late, so that maybe he doesn't remember. That would make more sense, right?
I think she was just like, you didn't say you were busy, so I thought you forgot.
Oh, he should. Oh, I see. Like he would
See, if
be
he
saying
had
he was busy.
said some word,
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah.
she would also have felt fine. See,
Yeah.
disappointing. Two women at once. This is
I mean,
terrible.
Maybe
Not terrible,
I mean,
but like
Jimin.
suboptimal.
Yeah, it's really not that bad. You're like really like hyped up about this. Really
Yeah,
hyper.
'cause you
Sarah, are you
disagreed
okay?
with me.
You seem really
You-
hyper. Are you all right?
You disagreed with me when clearly I'm right. I got a little into it there.
The intensity of it was the
Yeah,
issue.
because you tried to blame Ji Young and she did nothing
I
wrong.
wasn't blaming her. I was just like, it's just two passive people being passive. It's like a normal conversation between two passive people. To me, it wasn't like anybody was doing anything drastic or
It wasn't drastic,
noteworthy.
but it still wasn't the right move.
All right, there's a lot of not right moves we're gonna get to later. Okay,
Okay.
but Jimin does remember. Let's go, Sarah.
Yes.
Yeah, but Jimin's gonna pick up pretty quickly that she's like, okay, he remembers, so he was just saying that because
He didn't want to say what he was doing in front of Ji-young.
yeah. But in reality, it could be that he was unsure that Jimin remembers, so that's why he said it too.
So then this conversation like moves down to the table.
They eat
She's eating.
breakfast, yeah.
Yeah, and he says that everybody is coming home late except for Ji-young. And so Jimin's like, "Oh, well, we'll just make sure that we arrive home separately, so that way."
Well, it's Jimin's
Ji-young
idea.
doesn't like. Yeah, it was Jimin's idea, but she like sees him looking like kind of worried about it. You know, like I don't know.
Yeah.
He says that everybody's gonna be out except for her, and then he makes a face in the distance. I don't know.
Yeah. Jimin basically says she normally would have told the girls that she was doing something with Mingyu, but because it seemed like he didn't want them to know, she didn't say anything, right? Is that the vibe we're getting here?
I guess, yeah. I mean,
I
he
think that's
says
what
that
she
he's
says.
been walking on eggshells, and she's just like, well, it doesn't need to be eggshells, but like nobody needs to know, you know, like it's none of their business, which is fair and true.
Yeah. Jimin seems like so cool about this, but I can't actually tell like how weird she thinks it is versus like 'cause
Yeah.
she's like supporting him in whatever he's trying to do, but
But it can't feel good, right? Like you're helping him hide hanging out with you so that way other girls are still an option, maybe.
I think if you really liked Mingyu, it would be whatever kind of thing. You could take it either way. Like you could kind of just see it in a good light or bad light, depending on how you
Yeah,
look at
you
it.
could see it as a he's trying to spare her feelings way.
He's trying to spare like feelings
Ji-young's
or
feelings,
like
yeah.
I think at some point I wrote down like this does like when she starts talking about like, oh, like let's maybe we like she gives him the idea like, oh, we could like come back one by one, right?
Mhm.
And then this turns into an awkwardness because she's the one saying it, I think too, which we'll
Yeah.
come back around to when they talk about it again later. But it starts to feel like Mingyu is like Ji-young or like Jumi are like Mingyu's wife. And like Jimin is like the mistress that's like in on the
Yeah, yeah.
like she knows
so
about the wife and is in on it.
it is a weird dynamic.
But which is like that's what the show really makes it seem like, which is why like that just like can't be what it actually is because that's just so weird.
Yeah, I don't think it's that.
But
at
that's
all. It's
definitely like
just-
the energy the show's trying to give off, right?
I mean,
It's like
do
kind of what
choose-
you're saying, honestly.
They do choose some moments to have like sneaky sounding music with these,
Yeah.
this whole storyline, which is kind of silly.
Yeah. And so you think this is straight up just like him
Being awkward as hell and not wanting to like close the one avenue down,
Yeah.
even though he's very committed to the other one.
The other thing is that Jumi was also in the room for this conversation, and I don't know if there's any element of like trying to spare both of their feelings or keeping the door open with both of them potentially. Like it's not even just a Jiyeon situation. They're gonna really focus on Jiyeon
Yeah.
in this episode because for whatever reason, Jumi isn't really
Yeah.
in this episode. But like theoretically, both of them are. I don't know. I don't know if he realizes that they're the ones that have been texting him. So it's hard to
Well,
say.
I mean, he does know
honestly.
that Jumi is.
Yeah, he knows for sure. He might actually be sparing Jumi's feelings more than Jiyoung's. We don't actually don't know.
Well, I mean, I'm still saying that they went on a really good date. There's at least room for him to be like, she might like me. The date was good, and she is now asking if she
You're-
wants to. Like, I
Uh,
like, I don't think you need to know about the texts to like know that the vibe was good during the date and that someone might expect some follow up.
I guess so. I mean, it's hard to say because everybody just texted who they were dating. So
Yeah, which
you
is
c-
why I don't
it
care
almost,
about the text.
It almost means nothing. And then we don't know how much. We don't really know how much for sure Mingyu was vibing on that date because the date kind of felt like it was planned for Jimin also, right? So it was like
Yeah, but there were a lot of times where he was like saying the right things and like making the moves, you know, in his own way. That it
and bringing up Jimin.
well, okay, except for that fumble. Before that,
Yeah, I mean, like I
was
thought it
doing a
was.
pretty
I
good
thought it was a
job,
good
yeah.
date from like an outside perspective, but I don't remember. The show gave us a lot more of like, oh, Jiyeon is really liking this more than Mingyu was really liking this, if I had to recall. But it looked
I
like
mean, he
it was a
seemed like
good.
he was
Like
also really
they seemed like a
liking
good
it, yeah.
couple. So like for us, it seemed really really good, right?
Well, like even if he wasn't as into the date as she was, he could see that she was into the date and still be like, "Oh, she might have feelings for me."
You just think Mingyu
You
should
know?
be like a perfect reader. He doesn't. He should have the opposite of a poop
I'm
radar.
just saying.
He could have a poop radar. They say he has a poop radar. So
Okay, but I'm just saying that the texts, and if he, I'm sure he thinks the texts that Ji-young has been sending him are
Mhm.
from Jimin.
yeah,
But I think regardless of that, there's room for him to think that Ji-young might have feelings for him, at least on some level.
yeah.
So I think he is
If he's
feeling awkward
if he's a
about all
perfect
of these
person,
ladies.
he could. If he was good at juggling 3 women at once,
He doesn't.
he would do it better.
He doesn't need to be good at juggling. He doesn't even need to know that she likes him.
It is not like
he just needs to say, "I'm busy." It's
yeah.
it's just
I don't mean
so
juggling in a
little.
manipulative way. I mean like he's just really focused on one girl right now, and any other
I
thing
know.
is not
And
working
so
for
he
him.
can spend more time on that one girl he's focused on. All he has to say is, "I'm busy."
All right, I'd love to see you on these shows, Sarah.
Oh, you would never get me on one of these shows.
What would you do with 3 guys trying to go out with you on a date? At the
I
same
wouldn't
time?
have 3 guys trying to go out with me. I would not be anyone's type. I would be over in the corner, like trying to manipulate my favorite couple together, is what would happen.
Okay.
Or then I try to date the girls and ruin the whole show. I'm not made for these things. It doesn't work.
All right. I wrote more of just like I think it's actually just hard to tell. Like I really don't know what he's thinking here. I don't feel like there's enough context to really know exactly where he's coming from. We're only like inferring based on like
Yeah.
popular reasons why people might do this. Which again, like to me, it feels like they're making it seem like Jimin is this like mistress that he's trying to hide.
It is very awkward.
But I don't think that is like the mental state that
No.
Minkyu is in. It's like something else.
I think he's probably trying to not hurt people's feelings. And also there's room for him to potentially be like, let me leave my plan B open, but that's not confirmed,
Yeah, I think trying not to hurt people's feelings is like the main reason for everything that's going to go down with these two. And
Yeah.
ultimately, like, again, this is why just telling the truth is usually going to be the better thing to do. Because ultimately,
Yeah.
I think you just end up hurting the
Hurting
person
people more, yeah.
by like lying, by them finding out that you lied. So
100%.
yeah,
yes.
I agree. It's a bad move, but
But it's what they
with
did, so here we
with
are.
the type of person they are, like I'm not surprised. I don't think it's like there's no like intentional like manipulation going on here. That's what I don't think.
Yeah.
But I did right. Yeah, maybe he plans to try dating them all at once as long as he can. Just ride it out, Just ride it out for a couple more days until it falls flat in your
Yeah.
face.
See what happens.
Yeah, you're not gonna have another time in your life to try to date 3 women at once.
I mean, technically, any time in your life you could try
Yeah,
to
but
date
I mean,
3 women.
It's gonna be a lot more work than the position he's in right now.
Or is it a lot easier because you don't all live in the same house? Not that
Oh,
I'm
it's a lot. I
advocating
guess
for
it's
any-
yeah, but then you have to like go on 3 separate dates and get them to like you. Like it's already happened just naturally by going on this TV show. It's a lot of work.
Okay. I bet after this TV show, he might have more than 3 women who like him who would like to date him. That's possible.
That's
Get
possible, yeah.
popular.
My wife loves when Mingyu does his like shy guy smile when like somebody makes him laugh but it's like that's just how he smiles in that shy way.
Mhm, yeah.
So yeah, he could probably get some more dates after this. With the angle of her bringing up the coming in one by one,
Yeah.
there is the possibility that this is what she thinks she wants to do.
Because she doesn't want to hurt Ji Young's feelings, or
Doesn't want to hurt or doesn't want Ji-won to see her coming
he
back with.
did just say everybody's going to get back late except for Ji Young, implying that that's the person they're worried about, is how I took it.
Oh, that's what he said. But I'm saying Jimin brought it up as if like,
Yeah.
she's
She brought it up
supporting him.
after he talked about Ji Young being home theoretically when they're coming home.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying that she might have her own separate motivation not to be seen with Mingyu.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
It's
That's
just
all I'm
at the
saying.
time I took it as not that because they were specifically talking about Ji-young, and I assumed they were
Yeah.
gonna get home before.
Yeah, it's gonna come up
everybody else got
later
home.
when they talk about this again. Mingyu's gonna bring up G1
Yeah.
as a reason to do it. Yeah, and then when they're talking about not coming back together late, Jimin does say someone might not like that. As in,
Yeah.
like, yeah, they might not like seeing you with me. And I think she's like because Jimin knows like they both might not like that. Like Jumi and
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Jimin might not like that. Because she actually knows how the girls feels, or at least that's kind of the vibe they were giving off at the girls summit that they had.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. But she could also just be thinking she doesn't want to hurt their feelings.
Right.
Not necessarily she's like just helping Mingyu not hurt their feelings. Like she doesn't want to either.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I don't know. Is Jimin like starting to see these like big signals that Mingyu is actually sending her? Because she was talking about how like Mingyu is not aggressive or whatever. Like, is this the start of it? This whole thing, or do you think she's taking this as a negative more than a positive?
I mean, I don't think she's taking this necessarily as a negative in this moment, and I think I don't know that.
I think she's just like playful, and she like kind of just thinks the
Yeah.
whole thing is like interesting. You know?
Okay, yeah. I don't know that this is particularly one of those big signals, I guess, that she had been talking about before. I guess maybe it is. I don't know what qualifies for her as a signal, I guess. But he is following up on some plans they sort of made.
I view this show mostly from Mingyu's perspective, and like
Uh-huh.
I know when I was in Mingyu's position, like you know, it's like I would probably feel like I was giving off big signals, you know.
Yeah.
Like he's definitely making it more awkward than it needs to be, but I think his goal is to like make it obvious to Jimin that he has like picked her, and he's gonna make bigger moves when they actually meet.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, leaving all that behind, there are other people who live in this house we have to talk about.
Yeah. Okay. Yisu and Hushin are meeting in a coffee shop. Oh boy, this is fast.
Because apparently she was driving and just saw him on the street and yelled at him
in an alleyway.
Yes.
It's gonna turn out that they like actually like where they live is near each other, so they like both went home and then they bumped into each other on the streets.
And so they agree to meet up at a cafe in a little bit, and then they do.
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I'm enjoying all these fun little random unofficial dates.
Yeah, there's so many of them on this season. I love it.
Yeah, it's like the show just went, yeah, we don't have to set up dates anymore. Just do it yourself. Figure it out.
Yeah. Yisu also mentioned that she lost her phone at the lounge bar
last night when they were at the party.
Yeah, that's actually pretty devastating. She lost her phone.
I had been wondering if we were going to get a text message situation from the night before, but we didn't. And maybe it's because we couldn't because she lost her phone.
Oh, yeah. But Hushin says he'll join her to go find it. Right?
Yeah, so they go back to the bar they were at last night, and she's like calling her phone, I guess from his phone. And he's like sitting on different chairs where she sat, and he's like, I don't feel it vibrating. It's not in this chair. This is
a pretty smooth move, though, right, Sarah?
Yeah.
So you like help a girl. Well, not just helping her in general, but like this is what I was wondering. Like she's using another phone with a flashlight on it to like look for the phone underneath the seats.
Uh-huh.
And my only guess is that this is Hushin's phone. And then Hushin is like, "Oh, you should call your phone so we can hear it vibrate." And then now he has her phone number in his phone. Let's go.
I guess. But I don't know if it's true on this show, but on some of these, we get the rules where they're not allowed to have
they're not actually allowed to text each other.
But there's also a possibility that like production just gave her a phone because they needed to get in contact
That's
with her.
possible. Yeah, I guess that's true.
So it might not be his phone.
That's a smooth move, though.
Yeah. But they eventually find her phone in a trash can in the bathroom, and he digs it out for her. So extra heroic moment. She didn't have to dig through trash to find her phone.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's awkward, though, because he's like, I can't put my hand in a trash can from the women's room.
Well,
which is fair. That is weird. That would be a weird thing. I think what he ultimately does is like he finds where the phone is in the trash bag and then he's like rips a hole.
Yeah.
I think that's what he ended up doing. Good thinking.
That is a reasonable way to approach this.
Yes. Losing your phone though, that's a big deal. Such a relief.
Yeah.
For Yisu. Mm-hmm. This has got to get your heart fluttering, right?
Oh yeah, especially because she's had zero interactions with anyone else. So this is the biggest.
Nothing's more of a thrill and a rush than losing your phone and then getting it back. Like, what other feeling could be more amazing than that?
Yep. Immediate shortcut to romance, of course.
Yeah. Next, we get some suspenseful music.
Yes, because she's driving them back home, but they get stuck in traffic.
I literally thought they were about to get in a car accident. Like, this music threw me off. So I was like, what is going to happen right now?
No, it's worse. He's late to cook with Ji Young.
Yeah, that's all it was. I was expecting the worst here. Oh my god.
He looks real stressed about it though.
He does
He's
look
like,
pretty stressed.
oh my
yeah.
god, what time is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like checking his watch, and then she's like, who are you cooking with tonight again? And he tells her Ji Young. Maybe she wishes she did agree to cook the first day.
Maybe. But yeah, like the show has not shown us anything, like any interaction between him and Ji Young up to this point. Like I didn't think it was gonna be a thing, but then like, oh, in this moment he is so nervous about it that I'm like, oh, is this maybe a thing?
I mean, he's texted her, and they
Oh
cook,
yeah, I
they
forgot
cook,
he texted her.
they cook together, and
Did
they're each other's instinctive attraction.
Okay, I forgot all that. Um, all I remember is he was big on Jimin for a while.
Yeah, well, I remember more Ji Young than Jimin. Jimin was just
Oh really? Okay.
the "we dated" text, which almost means nothing, or you can't tell if it means anything.
But he also picked her for who he would be in a he could see being in a relationship.
Yeah, but everybody picked their date, so I didn't see that.
That's true.
But all that information didn't seem, or not that it's nothing, but we couldn't tell if it was anything. Yeah, and then they cut back to the house, and Ji Young is getting home, and no one else is there.
To an empty house.
This is kind of weird though, because like I just wrote, wait, what? No big deal. Then they just get home, and still nobody is home but Ji Young. So like, I guess they got home later. I don't know if they would have beaten Ji Young home. I'm not sure how long she was, but that dramatic music seemed so unnecessary.
Well, they had to go grocery shopping, and then we find
They
out he
did,
had
yeah.
plans for this whole thing. Like he had a whole thing set up, and
That's true.
it limited their time they could spend together.
Yeah,
you
he knew they were gonna have to go grocery shopping, and then he was planning to stop at a cafe and talk, and I guess they had to talk for less.
It's never a good look to show up late when you're interested in somebody. You know, of course he's stressed about it. He likes her. You don't want to show up late.
Is this just like, wow, he's really not interested in Yisu? Because like he's literally on a date with Yisu when he's thinking about this, right?
Yeah,
Kind of.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
You're
I mean, he's definitely more into Ji Young, right? He's not going, oh yeah, we get to spend more time in the car together. He's
Yeah.
going, ah, fuck, I don't get to go. To
I thought
the
you would.
grocery store.
I thought you would identify with this though, because you're somebody who like really hates to be late to things.
I do hate to be late to things.
So like, but would that necessarily reflect how you feel about your present company if you were in this situation, or it would just be like you'd be nervous no matter what you were late for?
yeah, I'd be nervous no matter what I was late for.
Okay. So maybe
Yeah.
Hushin's just like you, and he like, regardless of what he thinks about Yisu, he was just gonna be antsy about being late.
Yeah, but he does also show an interest in Ji Young through the rest of this episode. So
No, I'm just talking
Yeah.
about what is his interest level in Yisu.
I don't know. They met on the street. Sure, I'll go on
Okay.
a date with you. I don't know.
you're
They
not
didn't-
saying it's bad because he's only thinking about Ji Young in the car.
No, it's not bad.
Okay.
But I also like don't feel like they showed us anything from their little secret date that really like
Oh,
showed
yeah.
that they were connecting.
Yeah, now they're
Other
remembering.
than he did the hero move. Like that's it.
Now they're remembering when he does talk with Ji Young. I think they do ultimately. He does mention that he says what they talked about with what he talked about with Yisu, and he kind of
Mhm.
phrases it like, "Oh, she talked forever and forever about music." Like he wasn't that into it.
Oh yeah.
Is that kind of the vibe? Okay,
Yeah. I don't,
All right.
They,
I'll say
they didn't have a big connection.
I'll say the Hushin Yisu thing doesn't seem like it's gonna happen. Yeah, so they get back. No big deal, really.
But he's all like, "Oh my god, we got stuck in traffic. I'm sorry." Like he's like, "Don't think I like didn't mean to." You know, he's
Did he
just
even
like,
say
"I
that?
did not mean to be late." Well, he explains the thing. Like,
the first
immediately.
thing he chooses to explain though is like why they're even together, which is another
Oh, that is also
because
funny.
he's like,
yeah.
"Oh, we live in the same neighborhood. Don't worry." Like
Yeah.
he didn't say "don't worry," but that's kind of the first thing he explained was that more than the traffic.
"Look at all those words that boy said. Good job."
Yeah, so they do still need to go grocery shopping.
Yeah.
Hushin says he can leave right away, so they agree like, okay, we'll leave in 10 minutes. But then Hushin does take a quick look in the mirror to make sure he's looking all right.
Yeah, and he like sprays some cologne on or something before he leaves too. Like he puts a little effort in.
Yeah. And then and then this is where they flash back to the moment where they were like sitting on the couch together and looking at this art book.
Yes.
I think Ji-young joins him on the couch. So
yeah,
it's more of a play from Ji-young.
And they talk about art, and she likes going to museums, and it seems like they got a little bit in common, but she does say like, oh, she really wants to see his paintings.
Yeah. See, this Ji-young is way more powerful of a move than what she was trying to do with Mingyu to me.
Except I think the difference here is she's not necessarily very interested in him. She's like vaguely intrigued by him, I guess, so she might be less nervous about it.
Maybe, yeah. That could be what it is. Like, I think Ji-young does a better job here than with Mingyu. Like, because she's like, he's like by himself. She walks over, shows interest in what he's looking at, and then is like, "Oh, I really want to see your painting."
And then he says some words back at her. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't put a date in stone or anything. She wasn't asking, "Hey, are you free on this day?" But
yeah, but if she had, he'd be like, "I'm busy. How about Wednesday?"
He also wasn't dating every girl on the show, so his schedule's wide open.
Regardless, she wants to see his paintings. They're at a bar in Itaewon, so they could theoretically go, but that doesn't happen this episode. So
yeah,
I was sad.
This is where she described whatever paintings they were looking at. She describes them as grotesque, scary, and depressing. But then he's like, "Yes, that's what he was going. That's what this artist was going for." So yeah, she nailed it.
And then we get another flashback within this flashback, or a flash forward. I don't know when anything in this episode happens, honestly. But Hushin's in his room with Ji-won, and he's just like, I need to go on more dates because he hasn't really had an opportunity. And Ji-won tells him the secret about, they've been using grocery shopping as dates. The
secret strategy. The grocery shopping strategy.
And so you see it all coming together for Hushin. He's like, all right, gonna make this thing happen, I guess.
Yeah, because last time they cooked together, but they didn't go grocery shopping. That was the Jimin Mingyu grocery shopping day. This time they're grocery shopping and cooking. He's making sure of it. All right, back to real time. Yes. They're meeting before they're about to leave the house. Hushin tells Ji-yeon that he got dolled up to go to the grocery store.
Oh, no, he tells her that she got all dolled up.
That's what I said. Hushin tells Ji-young that he got dolled up.
No. He tells her that she got all dolled up.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah.
That's not as funny.
Okay.
Hold on. Fact check this real fast. It's way funnier if he says it the other way.
Okay, yeah, but he's saying that she looks good, and he's
that would make
happy about
I thought
it.
He was making a joke about himself, though.
Are you
Yes
going back and looking at the subtitles right
yes. He says, I got dolled up.
Wait, does he?
Yeah. I just checked. He said, I got dolled up. It's way funnier that way. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
It's like, Ji-yeon. She's like, yes, I got dolled up.
Well, she also
and then she's like, did you?
Got dolled up.
Then she says, did you? Did it work? And then he says, didn't I get handsome? And she's like, you did. Such a great interaction started by him saying that he got dolled up. Yeah, way better. No,
I just noticed that she had changed, and I thought he was just telling her that she looked good. Okay.
No. I really like Hushin in this episode, so I was like really concerned that one of his best jokes in the episode wasn't a joke, but
okay.
That was good. That was good. I mean, he wasn't joking, but it was meant to be funny. And and he gets a good laugh out of Ji-yeon. He has a lot of good laughs out of Ji-yeon in there.
Yeah, definitely does.
All right, I'm glad we know.
I like their little date they have here. It's cute.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's really.
They actually walk to the grocery store instead of.
That was a choice. That was a choice.
Yeah.
Knowing that they're going to go to a cafe later, right after, before they get home, that was definitely a choice.
And while they're walking, he's like, "Finally, we're going on a date together." She's like, "Is it a date?" He's like, "It is. It is a date."
This guy's on fire. Hushin's killing it this episode. Oh yeah, this guy's so cool. Yeah, when they're walking, Ji-yeon is really amazed by Hushin's height.
Yeah, and then he like switches sides with her. Like he was walking on the outside, like towards the traffic, if there was any.
Yeah, I didn't get the joke
here. And then he
here.
Switches the other side. I don't know if like there was a slope.
It made Ji-yeon laugh though.
Maybe
so I feel
he would be shorter on the one
something.
side. I don't know. It was confusing.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, she does look very small next to him. I did notice that.
Yes.
Once they pointed it out. Yeah, they're fun together at grocery store. They basically buy every item they see in the store.
Yeah, they're laughing, having a great time.
Yeah.
And then all of their groceries disappear when they go into a cafe
I mean,
somehow.
they carry them in, but yeah, then they disappear somehow.
But yeah, he says that they've had a lot of casual conversations, but they haven't gotten to properly talk. So that's why he really wanted to like bring her to a cafe.
Yeah, he wanted to talk to her on a real date, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a real date. G1 said this was a real date.
Yeah.
Yeah, he admits to her that he was getting anxious while driving back with Yisu.
Yeah, he was basically crying inside when they got
Yeah,
stuck in
I was
traffic.
basically crying inside. Jian smiles and laughs. So good. It's fun to see Jian smile and laugh.
Yes, definitely. They both get cute little like milk or foam mustaches when they drink their drinks. And he's like, this is so stressful. You can't drink this in front of someone you like, because he's like embarrassed about having to clean off this mustache. And it's like
Yeah.
clearly indicating that he likes her.
Yeah. I mean, the English translation isn't like, oh, 100%. This is what you would say if you like the person, but it's like, it's like enough that you should be taking it that way, right?
Yeah, and the hosts react to it too. So whatever the Korean is gets this across. Because they're like, oh,
Yeah.
drink in front of someone you like. Like,
Yeah, you could
Yeah.
just say that out of like, you could say it to somebody you don't like too, though, right?
you could, but like, I think
But it
whatever
should
the actual
be,
Korean is
yeah.
might be a little stronger than the English translation, you know?
Yeah. Jian laughs again. You're so funny. Do you know how funny you are?
He gets like a little worried that he's funny. Like, funny would be bad somehow. Like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
he-
Like, you.
Hushun has big reactions to people like saying anything kind of meaningful about him, actually. Doesn't he?
Yeah, I guess.
They also, this is where they bring up the, like, he talked to Yisu about a lot, or she talked a lot about records and music and stuff.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then Jian says that Mingyu also brought records to the house with him. So this could just be girl number 4 for Mingyu in the making here, right?
That is too much of a mess. Please no.
It might not be a mess by the time it happens.
I guess.
All right. I think Jian's laughs here seem different. Like they seem more genuine. Like she actually like 100% thinks what he's saying is funny. Whereas like, you know, sometimes laughs on these dates are like, hey, we're flirting, so we might as well be laughing. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Uh-huh.
these seem very genuine, these laughs.
Wait, where were the not genuine laughs?
Not
Which, like,
not
who
on
was
this
she with?
date, but
I know, not on this date, but who would you say
Um,
she was less genuinely laughing with?
it's not that the laughs weren't genuine, but like, you know, like she's laughing with Mingyu, right? But at sometimes it's just
Mhm.
like she's laughing at whatever feeling she's having in the moment, or just like there's a silence or something, and then you laugh
Okay.
to like break the silence kind of thing.
Mhm.
But these are like directly like Hushin just said something and it is funny and I'm laughing at what he said,
Yeah.
right? And
Mhm.
I guess I can't think of. I mean, Mingyu probably said some things that were funny as well on their date, but I don't know. It seems like a lot of laughing going on here, more than normal, even
Okay.
for
Yeah,
specifically
yeah.
for Jian also. Yeah, and then I remember these two both put each other as their instinctive pick.
Yes. That's
And then
true.
I had the thought, I really wish I could see instinctive picks again now that Yisu is in the house, like, or like give her a couple
Oh,
of
yeah,
days and
yeah.
then see it. Like it's kind of,
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea how Yisu is going to succeed on the show, honestly, because we didn't talk about it yet. But when they do the texting at the end of this episode, it's going to be the last time ever that they're allowed to text each other.
Yeah. I think it's not the last time they're going to pick. It's the last time it'll be sent through. Like, we're still going to get those sort of shots of
Oh,
who they're
really?
interested in, I think.
God, I might just fast forward to the segment if that's the case. That's literally useless.
But
Like,
yeah, the first time that Yisu gets to text anyone is the last time they
Yeah,
get to text
exactly.
anyone. It's ridiculous.
yeah, if they do that, I'm literally not watching the segment. Because the idea now that it's like at least they're like using the text to send the information, and then like maybe the fact that they're choosing the person means something. But if I'm just
Mhm.
writing down a name and handing it to production, that means nothing. Like there was nothing at stake when I did that.
But it's also more authentic because, like, the texts after dates don't matter because it's always just like, well, I should text the person I just went on a date with. And sometimes you'll get a person who's like, oh, I should probably text that person because they might not get a text or whatever. If they hand a name over to production, it is purely actually who they're interested in.
I guess so. I guess you could look at it that way.
I will.
That's fair. That's fair. I don't know. I'm already at to the point where I just really just want to fast forward through the segment.
Well, yeah,
Anyway.
the guessing part just takes forever and is
It just
unnecessary.
bothers me.
And I want to see the actual texts. So
Yeah,
can
I want to see the
complain
actual
about
text
them.
more than I want to see the guessing for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Hushin says, "Oh, it's such a bummer that we have to go back to the house right now. He wishes he had gotten more."
Yeah, he's just
Gone
like,
home
oh, if
sooner."
I hadn't been stuck, it would have
Yeah.
been fine.
And then he asks her what she was doing while she was waiting. And then here we go, Sarah. She says she was reading One Piece while she was waiting. You familiar
That's
with the One Piece?
one with the pirate kid
Yeah.
who's stretchy or something?
Yeah.
right?
Oh my
Right?
God, Sarah, look at you.
Okay. I've heard of it.
Yeah. One of the hosts says, "Oh, a masterpiece." She's reading the manga.
Mhm.
Yo, I've been on the fence about watching One Piece. This could be what takes. Jian's so
Okay.
cool, and she likes One Piece. Now I should watch. Now I should read it.
She didn't
Actually,
say
I'm
she
gonna watch
watches
it.
it though. Maybe,
Yeah, I'm
maybe
probably
you gotta
gonna watch
read
it,
it.
not
Maybe
read
that's
it.
the actual, greatest content.
I was actually thinking, Sarah. I feel like your biggest issue with anime is like the voice acting. Like maybe you'd actually be into manga.
It depends.
It's also
I
about
think-
pirates. You're into pirates. Come on. Jian thinks it's cool. That's gotta help.
I have doubts, but we'll see.
You can do your own voice acting.
I guess.
I've never
maybe.
actually
I
read
don't know.
manga before, so
I feel like the shouting would be implied, and I would just know.
you would just make it annoying in your own brain.
Yeah, my brain would be ruined. It just doesn't work. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I
Maybe
don't-
one day.
I don't think you would enjoy the anime, but I think you might actually like the manga.
Okay.
All right. But yeah, she's into comic books. But Hushin took Jimin to a comic book store. Jian's talking about a comic book. Here we go.
Yeah, I think they might be a good match.
All right.
Seem to have some common interests.
Yeah. Jian said she likes to draw, but she's terrible at it. That's why she finds people like Hushin to be fascinating. Oh my goodness.
And he's like, that's everyone. Literally everyone likes to draw, but is bad at it.
I mean, I wouldn't say that about myself.
Well,
I wouldn't
that's
say
his
I like to
opinion,
draw.
is what
Oh
I'm
yeah, he
saying.
always is like, he's like, "Psh, everybody falls in love at first sight. Psh, everybody likes to draw."
Yes. Then he comes up with this scenario he's worried about
That's good.
like after the show where he's like, what if he and Ji-young became a couple and left the show together, but if like Ji-won liked her first, it'd be awkward because like everybody would probably want to hang out sometime as a group after the show, but then it would be too awkward for Ji-won to show up and he probably wouldn't come. And it's like that's some forward thinking.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird thing to say.
But it was a nice way for him to be like, if you and I were a couple, like he's
Yeah,
that's not something so crazy out of the, realm of possibility. He's like, if you and I really got along, like we might be getting really along, leave
yeah.
the show together. What do you think?
It seemed like weirdly forward even for Hushin, but like the example was so specific to like something that seemed, at least from the show's perspective, like it could be a possibility, right? Like they're
Mm.
roommates, and
Yeah.
we think Hushin is into Jian, and it seems like Jian's starting to get into Hushin, and we know Jiwon is like, so like it didn't seem that hypothetical what he was saying. So
Yeah, but the way he brings it up is just like, oh, I just thought of this crazy thing, like
yeah, which makes it seem like super forward, but like I don't know, it was really weird. Like if anything, I feel like this hurt him. Like Ji Young took this as like, oh, he's like more worried about like being friends with the guys after this than like the girls. I don't know. It didn't seem like this did him any good saying this.
I don't know. I think like she like agreed that like yeah, weird awkward situations could happen like cuz she's on the women's side. They also sort of like similar people, right? Like it's a little
Yeah, she gets
Like,
it, but I don't think she
yeah.
was coming at it like she was like, oh, I didn't think about that, but I guess like yeah, that could happen. But I don't think she was as worried about it as he was making it seem like it was a big deal. I don't know.
But like he is the guy who specifically was like, I don't want to talk to any of the other guys about who they like because I don't want to have to think about it and be worried about it. And like clearly he's worried about it anyway,
Yeah.
even if he hasn't had that conversation.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because up until this point, it really seemed like she was like actively trying to get another date with him. Like she was like, I really do want to see your art. Like I'm serious.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
kind of that's how she's talking. And then he says this weird thing out of nowhere. And then the next thing they show is like Jian is then like kind of admits that she likes another guy in the house.
Well, he does kind of prompt it by asking if she's adjusted and like doing well. And she's like, yeah, but like it's harder now than it was before. Like she's still kind of in her feelings about this whole
But
Mingyu situation.
is it
So
also a bit of like, well, just so you know, I do like another guy in this house, so the one it might be awkward for is you after
no,
the
I think
show.
I think what she, I don't think she realizes that he's actually into her because like this conversation continues where he's like, okay, well, I won't ask who you're into. And she's like, she ends up saying that like it's really obvious who Hushin likes and everybody knows, but she never says who it is. But I get the feeling that she doesn't think it's her because that's a weird thing to say to a person who you think likes you.
Yeah. And then can we just spoil it now? Because I think it's kind of important
Okay.
to think about. Like
Uh huh.
ultimately, Hushin is going to text Jimin, which
Yes.
is not what I thought was going to happen. I don't know if
Not what I thought was going to
Yeah.
happen either. Because we do get another flashback where Hushin went on his like trip to go visit a friend, like a bunch of people did at the beginning of the season, and he's talking about really thinking about texting Jiyoung.
Yeah. What bothered me about it was that the host got it right. Okay, honestly, let's be honest.
Okay.
And like they showed, maybe it's like the English translation, or we're not getting the tone of the statement. But the statement was like, I wanted to text Jiyeon, but then I was worried Jimin wasn't going to get a text. So that, and like that's the reason he says that he texted Jimin. And then I took that as, oh, he likes Jiyeon more than Jimin.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the hosts are like, somehow interpret that statement into like, oh, he's going to text Jimin this time. Like, oh,
Yeah,
like he was
it's a little
thinking
weird.
about Jimin. He cared more about Jimin's feelings than texting Jiyeon. That means he has feelings for Jimin. I was like, what is that?
I mean, I guess there's an argument to be said that if the level at which you like someone is not enough to stop you from like worrying about if somebody else just isn't getting a text, that you probably don't like them that much, right? Like if he really, really, really liked her, it wouldn't really matter as much if Jimin didn't get a text, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's the logic they're going with, which I mean, sure, I can't
It was
argue with
super
that
weird.
too much, I guess.
It was
but,
super
like,
weird. But
It's not the outcome I wanted.
yeah, but ultimately, like here, Jiyeon is saying like, oh, I think I know who you like. And he's like, you do? You know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
like he's shocked by this. And Jiyeon probably thinks he really likes Jimin. And she might just be
Yeah.
right. Like, honestly, she might just be right. Like, like, regardless of however it seemed this date was going and how much Hushin seemed into it, like, Jiyeon might just have the right read on this, and he actually is into Jimin. Because it's not like he didn't like specifically ask Jiyeon on a date to make this happen. It was kind of like in general he wanted to go on more dates, and then he asked who wanted to cook with him, and Jiyeon agreed, and then he used it as a way to do a date. So as much as good as this date seemed like it was going, now that I've seen who he ultimately texted, it feels like, oh, maybe Jiyeon was just right the whole time, and that's why she was maybe like it kind of comes across as though like Jiyeon has a poop radar and like can't tell that Hushin is talking about how much he likes her, but she might just be like, bro, obviously you like Jimin, like
Yeah.
like the whole time. So she's like, no matter how good this date goes, like you like Jimin. Like, and I feel like there are a lot of interactions between Hushin and Jimin that the show is just not showing us, I'll be honest.
Yeah, probably.
Because
I mean, they're definitely not showing us a lot of stuff.
Yeah, because Jimin was like when at the girls' summit, she was like, Hushin is so aggressive about like approaching me and stuff. And I feel like that's not really the vibe I would have gotten if she didn't tell us that.
Yeah, that's true.
So I feel like there's a lot going on between Hushin and Jimin that is just like not being showed. Because like,
yeah, probably.
Why would Jiyeon think that for sure Hushin likes Jimin right here? At least that's what we're assuming.
Yeah. But like also, I mean, everybody has poop radar on this show too.
But I'm saying Jiyeon doesn't have a poop radar.
Yeah.
Like she actually has it right.
You're probably right. Yeah.
People have really good radars about things not to do with themselves. Like Jumi's all over this when it's not. Actually, Jumi might be pretty good in general. Maybe not about how people feel about her, but like,
yeah,
like how people about feeling about each other. I think she's pretty good.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, I think you're right. He probably likes Jimin the most, but I think there was at least something here. Like he likes Jiyoung a little bit, you know, but just not enough to overcome the Jimin situation.
Yeah, and I'm so curious what that's coming from, really,
Mm.
because like it doesn't actually like. So he put Ji Young as the instinctive attraction or whatever that was, and then he put Jimin as the like whatever
person he could be in he could see him being in a relationship with,
which doesn't really make sense with the age gap. I don't really know why he put Jimin as that, other than that it was just like the other
she's
girl.
cute and
like
charming, and
he had to pick
nice
two
date.
girls, right, and then that was just like Jimin goes in that bucket. Because he needed to fill that bucket. But I don't know. I just think there's a lot we're missing from Jimin and Hushin. Because if we want to spoil it now, do you want to spoil the main thing of the show?
Sure. She picks him for her text, yeah.
Yeah, she's gonna pick him too, and
which is
so confusing.
Absurd, given the way this episode is edited.
This next
like
thing is gonna happen, yeah.
When she's on this date with Mingyu, they do so many flashbacks to all their cute little moments, and they have such like this nice music swelling in the background. Like it really feels like, oh, this is the end of the show. This is where we find out that they're leaving together. You know, like they overplay it so much.
Yeah.
When they're on this date, and that's not how this texting goes at all.
Yeah. So this date with Hushin and Jian was going so well, it seemed, and then the show is going to make us feel like, oh, Jian is just so focused on Mingyu that she has such a poop radar and can't realize what he's saying. I don't think that was right.
And not only that, like she kind of puts him off by saying she has feelings for somebody else. Is kind of, I think, what the show is trying to be like. That's why he switched over to Jimin.
Yeah, there might have been a possibility of that if Jian just like took everything Hushin was saying at face value and was like, wow, he's really into me, and then she started flirting back, and like they didn't talk about the other people that they liked in the house. Mm-hmm. Like maybe Hushin would have followed up on this, or maybe he would have picked Ji Young. I'm not sure, but yeah, once Jian was like, oh, I know who you like, kind of thing, like he was like, oh, Ji Young was kind of giving off a vibe like she wasn't seeing this as her main thing. And she talked about how she likes another guy. So, yeah.
All these people talk about how they like other people on these dates. Drives me crazy. Like,
drives you crazy. It's the honesty, right?
I guess.
I like it.
But I don't know.
It sucks because it's like people's minds might be changing so often. It's just like in this moment, this is the person they're obsessed with. So it's frustrating for the viewer, but I don't know. I think it's fine.
Well, it's also like, I don't know. I feel like they're all screwing themselves over because like, yeah, they have feelings for somebody who doesn't have any feelings for them. And so then they kind of maybe put other people off who things could work out with. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess some people I care about it more than others.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see how it goes. It's also, I'm very confused at the end of this episode, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Hushin did seem flustered by Jian's words by the end of this conversation.
Yeah.
And then I wrote in my notes, are two people on the show ever going to like each other at the same time?
Never.
So I was getting a little annoyed, I guess, when I was writing this. All right, let's get to the main event here.
Okay, Mingyu is waiting in front of Jimin's school for her.
Yes. Yeah, Mingyu's waiting this time. He's looking nervous and awkward. Probably because he's right outside of an all-girls school again.
Yes.
And then Jimin starts approaching, but she's like across the street, I think. And they see each other. And they both wave and they start smiling and giggling before they're even next to each other. They're like smiling and laughing. So cute.
Yep, very cute.
So good. And then Mingyu says he thought he was dying because so many people passed while he was waiting. Just like waves of like schoolgirls.
Yeah, he's like, he must be the last person who came out.
I guess he's like, he like either noticed them all looking at him or he just thought they were looking at him or something.
Well,
like
in a previous episode, like we heard that like all the girls at an all-girls school are like really hyper aware of like if a guy's waiting at the front for somebody, it's a thing they all talk about.
Oh, he lived it now. It's real. Or he was just super self-conscious about it. Yeah. Mingyu leads off by saying, "You must be famous at school because you're so pretty." Is this aggressive enough for you, Jimin? You liking this?
It better be. Except, I guess, I don't know. I don't know if it's not or it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's what we should have to figure out what's going on here by the time we talk about this whole thing. All right. And then Jimin says, as they're walking to wherever they're going, that she says, I already came up with the next date spot, which made me think like, oh, like she's already planning another date with him. But
Oh,
ultimately,
I
they're.
thought she meant this date spot.
Oh, you
Yeah.
thought she meant that like right away. I think that is
Yeah,
what
like
she's
the
ultimately going to mean,
yeah.
right? Okay, so she wasn't saying like she's already thinking about their next date. It's like
She figured out
we're
where they're
planning
gonna
on going
eat
to
today.
2 places. Yeah. Well, they're going where to eat, and then she's like, I know where we're going to go to drink.
Oh,
basically,
okay. Yeah.
Is what
Okay.
she's saying. Yeah. But she is calling it a date, Sarah. Let's go.
Yes, she is. Yep. I mean, she was calling the last time they met together after school a date too. She's always
Oh,
been calling
true.
it a date.
Did she say that to Mingyu's face? I mean, she joked about
She
it with
said
her
it.
friend, but it wasn't as. I feel like it wasn't as much of a date last time, but this time.
No,
it
but
definitely
last time, okay, she did say it to her friend, but then when she was recounting the story to Jumi in front of him, she called it a date.
Yeah, that's true.
Or
I
she
mean, it was
said that
kind
she
of-
told her friend
She
it was a
said
date.
that she told her friend it was a date. Yeah, a little. She
Regardless.
likes to call things dates. She's one
It
of
was
them.
a date. This is a date. She's always said it's a date.
Yeah. All right, they get to the restaurant, and it's like build your own bowl of ingredients, and then they cook it situation. But they only
Mhm.
make one bowl because they're going to share. Let's go.
I mean,
I don't know
think
how-
that's pretty common.
You think
There's
that's
a lot
normal
of-
for this?
There's
Okay.
a lot of sharing food in Korea.
Oh, okay. Didn't mean anything to you. Got it. Okay.
No. That the shared bowl of soup means nothing. That's standard.
Okay. I mean, they built it together.
Well, yeah, because they were both going to eat from it.
I mean, usually they're not building their own bowl. That's what threw me off about it, I guess.
Okay.
But, yeah,
regardless,
there's a lot
it's
of
common to share a bowl.
Yeah.
In
okay.
that, you know, like you get one big thing and then you scoop out what you want.
They start by talking about their day naturally, like a normal couple, right?
Mhm.
She had a long day in translation class.
And she had to do a presentation or she's working on a PowerPoint and he's like, hey, check this out. And he brings out his phone and shows her some PowerPoint he was working on today. And she's like, oh, you're so cool. And it's silly.
Oh, was she actually brought up PowerPoint first? I thought
I think she said she had to do a presentation that she was working on.
Okay, and then he's like, yeah, I worked on a PowerPoint presentation all day. And then he shows her, and then he busts out his phone to show her. And then the PowerPoint is actually all in English.
Which that feels like, okay, yeah, she would probably be like, at least, if not impressed,
Let's
just like, oh yeah,
go.
you also speak another language.
She said she's impressed.
Yeah. But I mean,
she's-
like, it's not, I don't know that there's any PowerPoint presentation anyone could show me on a date that I would then think, oh yeah, that's so cool. It's such a nerdy thing to be like, check this out,
Ooh.
which maybe is the vibe. Sure, go off.
Yeah.
But for me, it was silly.
Now, if you want to impress my wife, you show her a PowerPoint presentation.
Oh yeah? Okay.
Not that
okay.
I ever showed her a PowerPoint presentation. But there are definitely people who like PowerPoint presentations. Leslie Knope from Parks and Rec.
That's
definitely
true. That's
impressed.
true. Yeah. And Jimin seems to indicate that she enjoys this PowerPoint
Oh,
presentation.
You're such a cool person. You look even cooler. I'm impressed. That's what she says.
that is what she said.
Mingyu smiles. I like the idea though that maybe because we were kind of under the impression maybe Mingyu doesn't have that much work to do.
Yeah.
I like this idea that Mingyu just went back to his house and worked on a PowerPoint presentation all day and made it in English just to impress Jimin. Like this PowerPoint presentation is like
that's terrible.
it's like actually for nothing. Like it's a fake international business.
Oof.
He's like, that'd be so good.
I hope that's not the case.
Why not? That's a little
Because
funny.
that's some weird behavior. That I would not trust that. That would be weird.
Yeah, I guess if he wanted to impress her, he could just have like pulled out like an old PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah.
But then he maybe didn't want to seem like he was just waiting for all day. I don't know.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it to be in English. That's why I thought like, oh, maybe he did this on purpose. Yeah. They are so cute together as they eat though. Like,
Yeah, they look like they're having a great time. There's something about who eats the most shrimps or something that
yeah.
seems to be a joke from
You-
before.
The only thing that's like missing from this relationship so far in the show is that they like haven't really talked about their common interests at all. Like we haven't gotten anything. And the shrimp thing is like the only first thing we've ever gotten.
They have PowerPoint presentations in common now.
Well, Did Jimin say PowerPoint presentations? I think.
She said she had to do a presentation. Yeah, that's why he's like, ooh, check out this
Okay.
presentation.
All right. Well, I don't know if that's a common interest. But it does seem like maybe they both like shrimp, which is I felt like the first time we got anything in common.
Okay.
Yeah. But I will say these are like the cutest couple I've ever seen on any reality dating show ever. What do you think? I can't think of anything. I'm including more than just Korean shows too. Like
Well, I don't watch non-Korean dating shows, so I don't know for that. But
I don't know. Like this is pretty crazy to me.
it's pretty cute. It
Yeah.
makes it even worse that it's not a real thing, apparently.
Yeah. It seems more likely than not now that it's not a real thing. I'm still leaving the door open. I'm not giving up.
It's like this is her pal who she goes and eats food with and goes on dates with, but it doesn't mean anything. I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like it can't mean nothing, but like it's at least fun for her. Like it,
Yeah.
but it could
okay.
be like a friendship kind of fun. I know
Yeah.
what you're saying. Yeah. Then they leave and they go to a bar.
hmm
This must be the next location she was talking about.
And he like makes proper eye contact with her, and it's a big deal.
Well, it's like when they're walking, right? So it's like she has to look up at him, that kind of eye contact.
No. When they're in the bar,
Oh, in the
he's
bar.
like he looks her
I
right
thought-
in the eyes, and he's like he announces that her eyes are brown, like he's never noticed
Oh.
before because he's never been able to look directly into them.
I thought you were talking about when they were walking and Jimin like looks up at him as they're walking and their eyes meet and then Jimin just starts laughing and says it's
Oh
because
yeah, there is a lot of that. Yeah,
she's like I always laugh when we make eye contact. Didn't know
which
what-
might be why he makes a big deal of it in the bar when he's like,
Yeah.
"Okay, look, I'm
he's
looking
like,
at your
look
eyes."
at this. Try to laugh now.
But then she sort of says that, oh, well, Ji-young's eyes are brown too, but you must not have noticed because you went somewhere dark together on your date,
I guess.
which is
Yeah,
an
she
awkward
brings
thing
up
to bring up.
Ji-young. Yeah, she brings up Ji-young.
And then she brings up Jumi right after that because she asks him what they talked about during their one-on-one.
Yeah.
And he says they talked about the text a little bit. And then he pivots with a smooth move where he's just like, I've been texting one person this whole time.
And this is another case of somebody stealing somebody else's move on this show. Like he just had a conversation with Jumi where she was just like, I don't know if it's like maybe he thought he couldn't say something like this, and then Jumi says it to him, and he's like, "Oh, we can say
and then
this."
just unlocks the power for him too.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, you can just tell somebody you've been texting the same person the whole time in order to tell them that you've been texting them." So yeah, he steals Jumi's move because he was like,
Mhm.
this
Yep.
Jumi definitely made it obvious what she was feeling when she said this to me. I'll just say the same thing to Jimin."
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like he told her more about what him and Jumi talked, but they edited it out because he was like, "We talked about text a little too," but that was like the first
yeah.
thing we heard. So
Yeah.
they made it seem like he immediately like dodged the question by only saying we talked about text and then just started talking about how he only texted her. But then they flash back to Jimin getting a text. I assume back on
Who knows
maybe-
when? Sometime in the past. I think it's got to be pretty recent because Ji-young was there talking about how she has poop radar and she's been reading things
Yeah.
wrong because she's not getting a text from
It must-
Mingyu.
It must have been the night after they went grocery shopping.
Mm,
Because then,
okay.
because the text, we actually get to see what Jimin got in the text, and it's "drink wine with me too," which we know is from Mingyu. And then,
Yes.
is this where she says like she
She's been
actually
barking
reads
up
this-
the wrong
yeah,
tree.
she's been barking up the wrong tree. So like, this is actually might be like the first time that Mingyu made it obvious that it was him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Jimin also might have been thinking that she was getting texts from Jiwon, but I don't think that's
Yeah.
the case though, because she was the one that was like, "Oh, he
that's
doesn't
right.
even
She
notice
was
me."
complaining. Yeah.
So I don't know who she thought she was getting texts from.
Yeah.
So or this whole
That is
maybe
weird.
this whole construct is just like an invention of the show.
Yeah, it must be because yeah, she's been real upset about the Jiwon situation.
Yeah, I think this show tried to imply that she thought she was getting texts from Jiwon, but it feels like that
Yeah, that
can't
can't
be, the
be true.
case. Yeah.
Yeah. So then I don't know what her big realization here about barking up the wrong tree is then.
Maybe it was just in general frustration to not getting one from G1 again.
Mm.
Maybe
Okay.
that's what it is. Although I don't
Okay.
know why she would have thought she was going to get one from G1 all of a sudden. But basically, by Mingyu saying this, that he's texted the same person the whole time, she knows at least one of the texts was from Mingyu. So
Yeah.
She is able to piece together right away that like, oh, like every text I've gotten except for the first impression text and the day that they all went on dates. Mingyu
Yes.
texted Jiyeon. Every other
Mhm.
text, Mingyu has texted Jimin, and now Jimin has the full information and knows this now. That's
Yes.
basically the what we're getting at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she makes him like clarify you never changed once, and then he says, I don't think I have, except for the day of the date night.
Yeah.
And she knows for a fact he didn't text her for first impressions, but I don't think anybody counts
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah. That was like 10 minutes into meeting people. Nonsense.
Yeah. Then seems like this might be going well because Jimin asks him, what's the biggest age gap you've ever had a relationship?
But then she like immediately goes, "Oh, right, you don't like talking about those things." So like apparently all of his past is off limits and we just can't
Yeah.
we can't ask about those things.
Yeah. This is where I think Mingyu might be making a mistake, you know?
By not talking about
By
his
not
past.
talking, like, if a girl wants to get to know you and like ask about your past relationships and you're just like refusing to talk about it, I don't know. That might be a little.
Yeah, it seems
something.
shady. Like
It
I
does
wouldn't
seem
feel
shady, yeah.
I would not feel comfortable if
This
someone
is-
was like, "We cannot discuss my past." Like, okay, well then
Yeah.
we will not be discussing our future. Goodbye.
Yeah, especially if you're like Jimin's got to be picking up on like, oh, Mingyu is like really into me vibes. But he's
Mhm.
like really into me and he doesn't want to talk about his past, which is like, is his past just
Yeah.
going to be a secret for the rest of our lives if we continue dating? Like, I don't know. Like,
yeah.
this is my first major like, wow, Mingyu this is where he should be talking.
Yeah.
But like my initial reaction was like, oh, Mingyu's gonna love this question. This is like her asking like, hey, like, can it work between us with such an age gap?
Mhm.
You know, like she's thinking about
Yep.
it. Are we just assuming this is like painful memories, or is it just like a philosophy that he has that not to talk about past relationships?
I would think that somebody who had that kind of philosophy would have been smart enough to not talk about Jimin while he was on a date with Jiyoung. I think he just feels awkward
Yeah.
and doesn't want to talk about it.
I mean, it could be extremely painful memories too.
It could be.
There could be like a legitimate reason he doesn't want to talk about it, but
You can talk about
you can
past
like,
relationships without talking about them. Like you can say the biggest age gap you've ever dated. Oh, like you can answer
Yeah, that's
vague questions
true.
like this without getting into the painful memories.
Yeah, that's
Maybe it's
true.
awkward and he's literally never dated anyone. So he's like, please don't ask me.
That's
these
the other
questions."
question. That was the other option I had was like maybe he's actually never really dated anybody before and is too embarrassed to talk about it.
It might be true.
Like he's trying to
Still,
Put
it
off
makes him
this-
look shady as fuck.
keep this facade going that maybe he's actually dated somebody before.
No, but if he has never dated anyone and now he has like 3 to 4 women on this show all coming for him, that's impressive. I mean, no experience to somehow wooing everyone.
He made it seem like he
I'll give it
hasn't
to him
really
for that.
like even tried or been any close to being like in a relationship or like
Yeah.
in a long time.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what he told. That's what he said he talked about with Galray, I think.
Yeah.
But I didn't get the impression that he'd never dated anybody. It just had been a while.
Yeah.
I also felt like she could have just changed the question to something about, like, how do you feel about age gaps in general in relationships? You know, like, she could have just taken it away from, like, the past.
I mean, he
and
could have
made it-
also like answered it just like that too. Been like,
yeah.
it doesn't matter about what the past is. Right now, I'm okay with anyone from this age to that age, or I think we're close enough in age.
Yeah.
Don't worry
It's
about
super
it.
weird that they weren't able to exchange this information
Yep.
somehow.
Just say a thing. Again, just say a thing.
Ooh, then it turns out they can request songs at this place.
Yes, and she is pumped about it.
She says she thinks about it and then she's like, oh, there's a song I really want you to hear. It's a song I really like. You know what, Sarah? I put in the extra work.
Oh, you
I
found
l-
the song?
I listened to both these songs at the
Oh, wow, because we don't hear the songs in the show.
I don't think we do. The second one I was a little confused on, but I don't think they play either one.
Yeah.
The first one is it's Amor by Bike A.
Okay.
Beautiful song, by the way. So
yeah.
good.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
like an acoustic Korean love song. Sounded really
Alright.
good.
And she sings along to it in the show, which is extra awkward when we can't actually hear the song.
Yeah. Definitely a love song. I looked up the
Mhm.
lyric translations. Do you want me to say? Do you want me to recite the lyric translation?
I mean, maybe not the whole thing, but some key parts, sure.
In general, it's a kind of like first love kind of romance song, which is what
Yes.
she indicates. But let's
Hmm.
let's read it. All right, here's the chorus translation of the song. During the nights we stayed, our heartbeats bloomed, connecting the stars above the night sky, drawing you. I guess me in this moment adds color to the time with you. Must be destined in the name of first love. Sounds like
Sounds like a nice song.
yeah,
I'm not gonna pick and sing that song to somebody that I'm not interested in.
that's what I'm thinking. Jimin like even says like, "Are you listening to the lyrics?" As if to say the lyrics matter. You should listen to them.
Yeah.
Now, I'm reading the translation. Like maybe they're I don't know what the deeper meaning of this song is, other than it's just like something to do with first love
Yeah.
and having feelings.
She does say that she picked it just because she wanted to hear about his first love.
Yeah.
Which again, he does not tell her
Like,
about.
when did you have your first relationship? I requested it because I wanted to hear about your first love. To me, it feels like it's more than that. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't request a song to find out this information. Like,
Yeah.
Unless I had feelings for the person, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mingyu answers this question by saying, I didn't have one. That could be true. He could have, like, dated somebody, but, like, never fell
I
in love.
guess. Yeah. Yeah.
Also could just be him dodging the question.
Also could be true. Yeah.
Yeah. To me, like, I felt like this was Jimin putting something out there, but then I totally would understand if she got frustrated with him not answering these personal questions. Because
Yeah.
to me, I feel like because they haven't really talked about their common interest, and the reason I think Mingyu got really into Jimin is because like they were just comfortable enough to talk to each other that they've like actually been open about their feelings about a lot of stuff.
Mhm.
And like that's how they were able to connect. And that's why they
Yeah.
feel comfortable with each other, and that's why they have these cute dates with each other basically.
But they haven't like talked about anything of substance or like
Yeah.
connected on that level, which maybe is frustrating her. Yeah. She hasn't indicated that, but maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say they didn't talk about anything about substance, like, you know, like him opening up about the kind of person he is and how he likes to when they're talking about like
Okay. Yeah.
like the first date they went on. I feel like they really talked a lot about how they feel about certain things, which I don't think are it's not nothing.
But you would expect a progression, perhaps.
Yeah.
Like the more time you spend with someone, you would get into deeper topics, and that doesn't seem to be happening. But we might not be seeing things
Yeah.
that they're talking about deeper shit.
Because it feels to me like, you know, this relationship is really built on the fact that they're open with each other emotionally. And but there's this like one topic that Mingyu won't talk about, which I like would totally be understand why Jimin is annoyed by it. Because I'm sure she would be willing to answer like any questions he asks, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Because it seems like Jimin's doing something here. Like, I don't think Mingyu has like a poop radar, is what I'm saying. Like, not only is he like he really likes her, but like he has a reason to keep on pursuing, right? Like he's not
Yeah.
he's not crazy here.
Yeah.
No.
But I feel like maybe she's just really having fun dating, and he's the most like consistently showing up for dates, you know? Like
Yeah.
and maybe that's just the reason like they have fun together and it doesn't necessarily mean anything more to her.
Yeah. At least she definitely doesn't want to like commit to him or anything like that. Like
Yeah.
he's committing to her, but she's not at that point yet,
Mhm.
which is fine. Yeah. Then Mingyu requests a song.
Yeah, and he says this is the song that he thought of when he first saw her. And he's like, listen to the lyrics, they're important.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have the part translated that he said was important, which was her movements remind me of a season. She keeps wavering. And he said it's because she seemed bubbly. The bit that was translated for us wasn't overly romantic to me, but
Yeah.
it's probably
I
altogether
did look
better.
at the lyrics, but I didn't particularly think much about this song in general. I liked Jimin's song choice better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read the lyrics, but nothing in particular stood out. But yeah, he said he's been listening to this song a lot lately, almost every day.
Yes.
All right.
And the day that he saw her at this song, he thought of this song. He wrote it in his diary, like about she reminded him of the song and wrote those lyrics down specifically.
Yeah.
So like this boy's been in it deep for a while now.
Yeah. Also, I want to say this song is by Janabi, which is the same artist that they played in the music cafe with Ji Young and Mingyu.
Yes. I couldn't remember if she played it or if he played it or if it was the one that they both played some songs from.
Whatever it was, I think it was the one that Ji Young started blushing at, though. I don't think it was the same song, but it was the same artist.
Yeah, same person.
And then while this song is playing, like they flash back to all the times that like Jimin made Mingyu smile, right?
This is where they're really laying it on thick. All the times that they've been cute together, and oh, this is a relationship that's happening. And
yeah, and like Mingyu's like, they show like a scene we didn't see where he's like getting her coffee in the morning or something, and you know, like all these like super cute interactions, like some that we've already seen, some that we haven't. So cute, so many feelings.
Yeah, this is when I was like, oh, this is it. They're gonna say they're gonna be together for the rest of the show.
What happened?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Jimin is all smiles listening to this song. And I wrote my notes, G1 can't beat this, right? G1 doesn't have what it takes to beat this.
It didn't even take G1 to beat this. It took literally nothing to beat this.
I'm just saying, like, even if Jimin does go on a date with G1, like, how's it going to go better than this?
No, I honestly think the best thing for Mingyu would be if she did go on a date with G1, because there's no way he's going to live up to whatever she's built up in her head about him.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that, yeah. But at this point, this is like...
Mingyu's other problem is Hushin exists, but, you know.
Yeah. All right, well, now it's time to figure out the going back to the house strategy. And this is... I can't tell if it went, like, how much it went bad. Like, Jimin didn't have any, like, really negative facial reactions to Mingyu not opening up about his past relationships, but this is when it definitely gets weird. Jimin says, are we going home too late? I'll go home first, or you should take a walk, or should I take a walk?
And then she's
like reiterating the like, should we not show up together?
Plan, yeah. But then she's like, because he of course takes forever to answer anything. She's like, well, let's just go together and say we ran into each other. And again, it takes a while for him to say anything. So she goes, or not?
Yeah. Well, at first he's not saying anything. And then when she says, let's do it together, we can say we ran into each other. Mingyu, like, does start to nod, but it's kind of like in an undecidingly kind of way. And then she's like, or not, what do you think? His response that they show finally is G1 home too? And then he says, you should go first. So I just feel like they're both trying to either protect somebody in the house, or they're trying to protect the other person's feelings that they might be more like trying to date other people and don't want to like hurt where they stand with that person.
Yeah, I think they're both like trying to be considerate of each other, while being considerate of other people. You know what I mean? Like she's trying to make it so he doesn't hurt Ji Young's feelings or whatever, right? And he's doing the opposite. I don't know if he's doing the opposite in terms of G1. He might just be like, she probably doesn't want G1 to see them together, even though like G1's expressed no interest in her. But it's just classic not communicating about how you're actually feeling, and it made everyone awkward and feel bad. So it sucked.
Let me give you my take on Mingyu's perspective, though.
Okay.
From what we saw, he at no point ever brought up this idea about entering the house at different times. It was 100% Jimin each time it was brought up.
Yes.
And I think it's very possible that he is taking this negatively. Like you think like, oh, he was being weird in that conversation with all the three girls. But from his perspective, I think like he might not even realize what he had did there necessarily.
I think he realized
what he did to affect Jimin there, at least.
Yeah, I don't.
So from his perspective, I think like Jimin saying, do you think we should enter the house separately? Like he might not even realize that Mingyu is like, or that Jimin is trying to cater to him, or she's trying to cater to the other girls. And he might immediately be thinking like, oh, she doesn't want G1 to see us together. Because he never brings up this idea, and he may never have brought up this idea if she never talked about it.
I would be inclined to agree, except for like when they first talk about this, they are specifically talking about Ji Young, right? Like she's the only one that they bring up in terms of who might be home when they come home.
I did see that, but it was how it was edited was a little weird. Like it seemed like they might have talked about when everybody in the house was going to get back, and then they only showed Mingyu saying
Maybe.
Ji-young, you know?
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, if this makes him feel bad or not, he does not change his vote. Like, he still texts her.
Yeah, but this guy's not changing any. Like, there's no reason for him to change tonight.
Yeah. And I mean, this is a guy who sat at like in the mall food court area watching her like say she wants to go on a date to Jeju Island with Jiwon like in front of him while she's flirting with like he's been through a lot of that already and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter in terms of how he feels, but it does matter in how the rest of this night is going to play out. Like,
okay,
he ultimately, I think, because what is going to happen is they're going to go back and forth on this, and then they are going to decide to go into the house separately. And it's weird because when they're finally like approaching the house together, they kind of have a weird conversation where like I thought Jimin was going to end up going in first, but then Mingyu ends up going in first, like out of nowhere. Is that kind of how you felt?
Well, yeah, it's like as they approach the house, he tells her to go in first, but then she's like, "No, no, no, you go in first." And then at some point they just stopped arguing. Like she got the last word on like, "No, I'm being polite to you. You go in first."
Oh, you think they were like out polating each other? Oh, okay.
Or something.
I thought like Mingyu was like, cause they're kind of just like waffling at the bottom of the stairs, and then eventually like Mingyu just like turns and walks up in a way that like I thought he was just like choosing to do what was best for her. Because I thought the decision was more of like they were deciding like, oh, should we go in together or should we go in separately? And then he just made the final decision of going in separately because from his perspective, he just thinks this is what Jimin wants.
I think they both have that perspective of it's what the other person wants.
I'm just saying from Mingyu's perspective, I don't think he has any reason to care really if they get seen together at this point.
I mean, he might. Given how like awkward he was earlier, whatever reason he didn't say he was busy was partly at least not wanting. Like he's not like openly saying what he's gonna go do, so he doesn't want them to know, or it feels awkward that they might feel bad about it. Like I think there is some level of that with him too.
Okay, I guess so.
Because I think also with her, she might feel. I think she also might feel it too, where she would feel bad if they saw them come in together. But I think she cares a little less about it personally, and it is just trying to defer to him. Like she thinks he is trying to avoid that more. I don't know how much anybody is thinking about if the other person thinks this way because they're into other people or if they're just not trying to hurt feelings. It's a big mess of nobody's actually talking about the real thing. And so there's no way to know. And they just made each other feel bad. I don't think that this is the thing that changes her text though.
That changes her text.
Yeah, I don't think this is why she doesn't text him.
You just think there's no chance. That's your perspective.
Yeah, I think she's just not really that into him. She's just having a fun time on the dating show. Because she's good at dating and she's good at having a good time with people, you know?
Do you think this is the end of the Mingyu Jimin story?
No, it's going to go forever.
It's going to go forever.
I mean, how long has she not texted him and it's still like he's still...
Well, I mean, he can keep texting her like the same way like Jiwon's keep texting Jiyeon, but he's not part of the show. Like they could... think Mingyu's going to be like not part of the show anymore?
I think she'll still go on dates with him. If he asks her out for things, like she'll still go. Still a good time. And
the show will still be highlighting it like this might still happen and you just think and you'll never think again that this is happening.
Yep.
Okay. I have hope.
Okay.
Well, we can break down the texting strategy at the end of this night when we get there. Jimin, see, from my perspective, Jimin did seem disappointed. Like they showed her facial expression once Mingyu brought up Jiwon.
Okay. I would think that would make her feel better because then he's being considerate about what she's worried about running into and when they go home instead of what he's worried about.
Yeah, but she might be thinking, oh, he's saying this, but he actually just doesn't want the other girls to see us. I don't know. It's so weird. I do think that how they chose to handle this situation and how they really seem like they both want to enter the house together, but they're afraid to like step on each other's toes when it comes to like their relationship with other people. They at least made it seem like Jimin was having a blast the whole night, and it's not until they were having this conversation that she like stopped smiling, basically. So I think this had an impact.
I don't, because she hasn't been She hasn't been texting him. She didn't pick him as her either of her picks on the who you could see yourself with versus instinctual whatever. I think this is just a continuation of she's not that into him.
Okay. That's definitely possible, but I don't think it's 100%. What was I gonna say? Oh, because she only recently realized that Mingyu had been texting her all the time. That's like a recent revelation.
And yet, it still didn't prompt her to text him back.
This time, yeah.
And this is the last time, though. Like, she knows it's the last opportunity.
Oh, you want to talk about the texting strategy? Because there's a lot of factors in play because it's the last time.
I would think that because it's the last time, you go with your most authentic pick, right? Like who you're actually interested in, who you really want to pursue.
That would be my instinct too. But there are people on the show that take different approaches to this. And because that seems like the most obvious way to go about it, like Jimin could have feelings for Mingyu, but realizes that his feelings are like really strong right now and doesn't want to like reciprocate such a strong statement by like texting him this like biggest text of the season kind of moment potentially.
But she will go on like 3 dates with him.
Like, yeah, because it's fun. Yeah, I don't know. And then there's other aspects of why doesn't she text Jiwon? So explain to me why she doesn't text Jiwon.
Because she's given up. He's never home and he's never shown interest.
But did Mingyu help her like get over Jiwon? Or the other factor I was thinking was like because it's the last text, she's like, I can't have just texted this guy the entire time and he never reciprocated. Like I have to switch because it's the last one. But then she doesn't.
Yeah,
switch
that
to Mingyu.
might also be a reason. Yeah, but yeah, why not switch to Mingyu then? Like, if she actually had interest in him, she would have texted him this time.
The other angle to think about it is, hey, this is the last time I can text somebody. If I wanted to pursue somebody I haven't really like pursued enough yet, maybe I should text them because this is like my last opportunity.
Okay, but also like, okay, I know we haven't seen texts in a while, but all the texts we've seen from her have never been like, they've all been vague. You could never tell they were from her.
Yeah, it's dumb. We don't.
So like, is she gonna like actually pull off some amazing text this time that's gonna indicate like that she's actually interested in more than she could just go up to somebody and like you would hope so, but we have no proof. And like, would that be more effective than her just going up and like being her flirty, charming self to a person in person? Like, I don't think that this not being able to text anyone again means she can't show interest in someone. Like, she could very easily go to Hushin and like turn on the charm and it would be so easy to like, he's already interested in her. She would clearly be able to tell him that she was interested in him.
Yeah. I literally wrote in my notes when they announced this was the last time to text. I was like, oh, I guess they're going to have to like use words and
yeah,
they're going to have to use the spoken word to communicate now. Dun, dun, dun.
It's shocking how, well things go when you can just say things to people, just get shit done.
Yeah, I mean, it can definitely go badly too because it is going badly for a lot of people.
Well, it's going badly right now, specifically for these people because they're not saying enough words.
Yeah, I mean, if Jimin never said anything, they would have just gone back together and maybe it wouldn't have been an issue. Maybe there's like too many words.
She still probably wouldn't have texted him, I don't think.
Okay.
But like all of this is so completely frustrating to me because like he manages to fuck up coming home separately anyway. Like she stays out there in the cold for a long ass time.
They say it was long, but like I was thinking about this like 10 minutes max. No way it was more than that.
No, regardless, like she puts the effort in, right? He goes in. We don't see this, but I can figure it out based on what we do see. Everybody's in the playroom. He slinks up to his room to change and takes long enough that she comes in, sees that everything's empty. This is what we do see. Then she goes to the playroom, says hi. He's not in there. She settles down. And then he comes in.
Yeah.
And it's like,
there could have been a bigger
it just
gap.
looks like you came together because he should have stomped up the stairs, peeked in and said, hey, what's up? Before he went to his room. Instead, he made it look even more like they showed up together.
Yeah. That's partially why I think like he really hadn't thought through this plan that much. Like he was more of just like thinking about oh, Jimin wants to do this. Like it wasn't something he was thinking about doing at all. So he didn't really do it like the proper way,
Yeah. It's a mess.
Also, if they could text each other, this would have been a lot smoother. He could have like rolled in the house and been like, "Coast is clear, come in," but he couldn't text her, so she had to wait out there for like the full 10 minutes or whatever it was, because nobody was downstairs.
Yeah, but they still need the staggered arrival of, or at least people acknowledging that they're in the house. You know?
Yeah, but they could have like.
You can just sit in the kitchen for 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
They could have waited inside. Yeah. What the hell? We skipped over a segment, but.
Oh yeah, that's right.
You want to talk about Gyaorai and Ji-young and the coffee beans?
He brings home some coffee beans from work. We get another flashback back when they were on their one-on-one. She talks about how she had visited his cafe in the past, you know, before they all met. And there was this one type of bean she really liked that tasted like roasted sweet potato. And apparently she drinks decaf coffee because he rolls in with these sweet potato smelling or tasting beans that are decaf, and she is pumped. So then, not only did he bring her the beans she liked from his cafe, he shows her how to make coffee in the fancy drip thingum that I don't know coffee things. But she's like, you gotta slow pour it in this thing.
Yeah.
And he's like holding her hand or the coffee pot with her. It's the hosts compare it to the movie Ghost when they do the pottery. It's not quite that intense, but it's a nice little coffee moment.
It is weird. It's weird because everybody else that's home at the time
is
just there watching them. And like he didn't bring that many beans of the ones she likes, but he did bring like another bag, like bigger bag of beans that I don't think were the same beans, but they were his, like that he roasted.
Yeah.
And I feel like he had this plan to like be like, I brought back beans for everybody, and then he was gonna like secretly give this special bag to Ji-young, but then Ji-young saw the bag and was like, "Oh my god, are those the ones I told you about?" And then like she basically like called him out in front of everyone. It felt like another like failed Gyaorai moment.
No. This is a success though. This is better than the seaweed
but like
soup.
I don't think his intention was to like show her how to make coffee in front of everybody in the house. I don't think
it was great. It looked like a Renaissance portrait of just like everyone staring at them while they like it's the Last Supper of coffee beans. Like I love the shot of everyone watching them ghost some coffee.
This does not feel like this was Gyaorai's intention when this was happening.
But I think it worked out well for him.
No, it's definitely better than nothing. He's doing something. And then Ji-won chimes in. He says, "You didn't teach me to in detail like that. Didn't teach me how to make coffee like that." And then Ji-young does offer everyone a taste of the coffee beans.
Her special beans.
Her special beans. And at least Jumi does take a sip. I don't know. She might be the only one. Okay.
But yeah, that all happened before Mingyu and Jimin tried
then
to
they get
in.
home. We talked about this. Yeah, Jimin gets to the playroom where they all are. Yeah, they immediately suggest that she might be drunk. Why would I be drunk? She said.
She blames it on like being shocked by Yisu because she like I guess she's implying she
stranger.
She
stranger.
Existed. She's just like who's the person?
Jian was like, "I thought you were with Mingyu." All right.
Yep.
Covered balloon immediately.
But I guess she denies it.
I don't even know if she denied it, but it seemed like no big deal. Like people moved past this. Now they're all hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
Then Ji-won out of nowhere pulls Mingyu's laptop out of the couch.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Whose laptop is this?"
And somebody's like, "Oh, it must be Mingyu's. He was working from home today."
Yeah, Jumi says that. Yeah.
And then I swear Ji-young's face is just like, if he was working from home today, why isn't he home? Like she just makes sort of a face like, oh, is that what happened?
Yeah, super dramatic music zooming on Ian's face.
But the thing is, ridiculous.
The thing is, Mingyu actually did go back to his house and work on a PowerPoint presentation. So he didn't lie about that. It's just like, this is not the laptop he worked on.
Or, like, I thought when he said he was working from home, he was working from the house that they currently live in.
No, they knew when he says, like, I'm going to go back to my house. Because that's come up a couple of times, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
But I think she's thinking, like, oh, he would need his... Or the show is trying to make us feel like she's thinking that, oh, wouldn't he need his laptop if he was working today? But he did
Yeah.
actually go home and work. Like he has a computer at home, basically. And he just happened to leave his laptop in the playroom.
Yeah.
But this gets such a dramatic face.
It is ridiculous.
I don't know if they really read into this laptop thing that much, but they definitely are going to read into Mingyu and Jimin
Yeah.
being weird.
Yeah, so he finally comes in, and this is the first they've seen him. And he sits down, and Jimin's like, "Oh, where were you?" And he's like, "I worked all day and had dinner." And Gyore was like, "With friends?" And Mingyu shoots him this like death glare, and then is like, "A friend."
With a friend. This is
With
funny.
a
Like
friend.
I feel like Mingyu and Jimin are just like trolling at this point.
I don't know. Maybe maybe they are a little drunk.
He's like, with friends? With a friend. And then Jimin chimes in, I hung out with a friend too. And then Jihyun goes, really?
Yeah, this is so ridiculous.
They didn't both have to be like, yeah, I hung out with a friend. He could have
Yeah.
just lied and said he hung out with a bunch of friends. But I guess now he hasn't technically lied.
I guess.
Some people are like that. They're like, they want to lie, but then they like try to make it as truthful as possible. So in the they can like
Mhm.
they can like defend themselves in court later. I didn't actually lie. I said I was hanging out with a friend. And I just didn't respond when you asked me if I was hanging out with Mingyu.
Yeah, all things really silly.
Yeah, Jiyeon at least is suspicious, right?
Oh, I think she totally knows what happened.
All right, and that's where we kind of just leave off. And then they get a text.
Then they
saying
get
this
a
is the
text.
last time.
Yes. Everyone gasps when they read it.
And then they just sneak in a couple like quick flashbacks here that I guess as if you're really trying to guess on the show, like, oh, you better pay fucking attention to these last second
Yeah.
flashbacks because they always end up being like the deciding factor in these things. But man, I got so many of these wrong, and I'm just
I got a bunch
I'm
of
just
these wrong,
upset.
too.
I literally might just skip over this segment of the show. I usually watch it for completeness because like we're fucking podcasting about it, but I just get frustrated watching this segment now. Like, how are
Yeah.
they even guessing this, and why are they getting it right? Thankfully, they got one wrong
Mm-hmm.
finally, but
Made you feel better? Okay.
not really because I mean I got like 4 wrong, and their guesses like were the made like reverse logic of what made sense to me, and somehow they're right, which is like maybe it's just like a tone translation issue or something. I don't know,
Yeah, I don't know.
or honestly just like not like people's brains just don't work the same as mine. Is probably what it is. But I don't get why they get it right so often. That's what's
Yeah.
annoying.
I don't know.
Like this, there was at least 4 or more people here that were 50-50, right? And, like, and they're just getting
Yeah.
majority of them right all the time.
I mean, they do have the benefit of discussing it with each other and coming to a consensus. Theoretically, that's gonna,
Theoretically, they can make it more
Improve their-
confusing though. Like
I guess.
they get into these situations all the time where like they're about to pick something and then one person chimes up and he's like, I don't know, I have really strong feelings that it's somebody else, and then like they listen to their argument and then they like change and then ends up being right, and then that's actually how they get the one wrong this time. So I don't know, maybe it's real, maybe it's not. Regardless, it's annoying and doesn't add anything to the show. So
Okay.
and I really,
yeah.
I
It
really,
takes
really,
too long.
really, really, really like the host on the season. I just hate the segment. The like the K-pop idol girl this season is like really
Mhm.
funny.
Mimi?
Yeah, Mimi is
Yeah.
really funny. She has like the biggest reactions that are entertaining.
Yeah, she does.
So I really like them, but man, this segment is frustrating.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, do we
Let's
wanna
just
go
run
through
through.
this?
Yeah. Okay. So
Fuck guessing.
Mingyu texts Jimin. Surprise.
yeah.
No one's surprised. Gyore is back on Jiyoung. Ji-won continues to be about Jiyoung. And Hushin picks Jimin even though whatever.
Yeah. They show the random sneaky scene they showed right before picking was that like I don't even know when this happened, but and this is what I was
Mhm.
talking about the book, like putting a bookmark in the Hushin saying who's pretty and who's not pretty. Like,
Yeah.
They were like talking together in the playroom in some formation of a group with Hushin and Jimin in the room, and somebody asked Hushin, "Oh, have you told anybody they're pretty or something like that?" And then he said,
Yeah.
he says, "I've only said Jimin and IU are pretty," as in like IU's like a
Yeah.
K-pop person, right?
Yeah,
or
who he's
something.
specifically referencing from their date that
Yeah.
like they
Yeah.
were talking about bald if
But
she was bald or whatever.
How old is that flashback because like he's literally told every girl in the house they're pretty by the time we've watched this episode.
Yes.
So
This is true. But
so
whatever.
the man is not shy.
Apparently-
About-
Yeah. Well, maybe he thinks it's different telling someone they're pretty when they're in their normal clothes versus when they're all dressed up.
I guess.
I don't know. I'm not going to try to figure it out.
I don't know. Somehow though, the hosts were like, "Oh yeah, he's picking G-Men." What?
Well, they did just get those flashbacks. So, I mean, if you get
I
stuff
don't
like
know.
that, they're trying to tell you something in the edit. But I had wished he had texted Ji Young. I liked their little date, even though she did not seem to think he had was into her at all. But whatever, I wouldn't mind them together.
That would have been more satisfying. Like, I just think there has to be stuff with Hushin and G-Men they're not showing us because they really wanted to play up this Mingyu G-Men thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm getting to the point in the show where I'm trying to think like, okay, what's the end goal of this show? And they spent so much time on Mingyu and G-Men, and I can't decide is it because that's just the most content they had and it was the best content they had.
I think they've got excellent content out of it. Yeah,
But it has to be like, okay, this is the best content we have. Like, if ultimately like G-Men
he's
and Hushin,
excellent on dates. Like,
yeah,
you can't
and this
argue
is
with
just
that.
the dates. This is just the dates they're going on, so that's why they really want to show it. But ultimately, like, if G-Men and Hushin are going to end up together, like, I wish they would have shown whatever was happening between G-Men and Hushin.
They might have more significant stuff that happens later in later episodes. You know,
Yeah,
like they might build up to it that way.
but they spent so much time on G-Men and Hushin, on G-Men and Mingyu, that's why I'm like not giving up on it. You know, like
Okay.
it feels like they didn't have to invest that much time if this was going to be like an obvious not going anywhere like by episode 6. But it's also possible that it was just the best content and the best story to show
Yeah.
for the first 6 episodes.
I think that's what it is.
You think
Because
that's
she's
what it
excellent
is?
on dates and she's never picked him.
I'm saying the end result of the show could still be them getting together because they spent so much time on this early on. And that's like the big story of the show would be like, wow, she didn't text him forever, and then it works out in the end. But I don't know. I'm just speculating on the editing strategy is all I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's so weird to me that now just like next episode, it's like the biggest couple of the season just might not be a thing anymore.
Oh, it's still gonna be a thing. Like he's still gonna pursue her. She's still gonna go on dates because they're
It's-
fun.
It's going to be in the conversation, but it's going to be more like, you know, oh yeah, Gyeore likes Ji-young, but it's barely on the show.
Why would this be the turning point though?
Well, Mingyu's going to know for sure he didn't get a text after opening up, or from his perspective, he should feel. I would feel if I was him,
He
that
already
opened up.
yeah, but like
But this was like he really expressed feelings on this date, like the song choice and certain things he was saying, like almost like a confession, essentially. Now, it's not going to make his feelings go away, and the feelings might still be talked about on the show. But you know, other guys on the show are also having feelings, but for the large part, we've only seen Mingyu's up to this point. Like we know Ji-won likes Ji-yeon, and we know Gyeore likes Ji-yeon, but it's just that we didn't really get to see it play out as much as we did with Mingyu. And I don't know. It's always, it could just be me. I always felt like the Mingyu Jimin dates were like longer. Like they're choosing to put more of the dates in the show.
yeah.
So that's why I don't know how to feel. I don't know how to feel like is it really over? And it's like they're making it into like a tragic halfway point and then it's gonna come back in the end, or it does seem like just mathematically unlikely that like somebody doesn't text somebody for the first half of the show and then they end up with somebody at the end that liked them the whole time.
I don't know that you can figure that out with math, but
It like kind of was the Single Inferno storyline
yeah.
to some degree, but it's like so many days on this show. It's that it feels like more unlikely for that to happen. But I don't know. Have you thought about the edit of the show at all? And
Yeah,
which direction
yeah.
do you think it's going?
I just really think that she was she's good on dates and this is where she's been. She's been hanging out with him. And so like they weren't going to get any cuter content than this. And so I think
Yeah.
that's why it's been in the edit.
I mean, I don't think they will the whole season. I'll say that. Because even Jimin wasn't this cute like with a date with Hushin. Like she acted differently.
Yeah. And then you have the fact that like the 3 starting women, well, at least the 2 other starting women like are also into this guy. So he's going to be in the show a lot too. And what's he doing? He's hanging out with Jimin. Like, so that's, I think, why this has been the way it is, you know? Like, I
It
don't,
could be that.
maybe
yeah.
he's going to circle back around to Ji Young because they seem to have a connection. Maybe she's going to move off before that. I don't know. I think there's going to be some awkward, jealous time, and then it'll settle more into what's going to happen at the end.
Yeah, it could just be that like Mingyu is the main character and like his decision in the end is going to be like the big moment.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, if his decision in the end is going to be the big moment, then we have to show all the steps that led to it. And that's why it's more that we're just seeing everything Mingyu's doing. And it just so happens that like every time he went on a date, it was with Jimin for like just like partially by coincidence, and then this is actually planning. But okay, I'm just getting to the point where I'm thinking about that stuff, but about the end game. All right, how the hell do you guess who the women text here, Sarah? How do we even?
I don't know.
Did you guess? What was your guess?
I did guess.
I just said fuck it and just guessed Mingyu for all of them because I didn't want to think about that much, and then I forgot to guess Yisu. But I would have guessed Tushin, of course.
Oh yeah, for Yishu, I guessed Tushin. For Jumi, I guessed Gyore. For Ji Young, I guessed Tushin, mostly out of I just wanted that to happen. And Jimin, I guessed Mingyu because I thought.
Oh, you guessed Tushin even with the vibes that she.
Yeah.
Even with the poop
radar. I thought maybe she'd figure it out. Like she'd go home and be like, "Oh wait, that man was flirting with me." Aw.
Yeah, I thought it was between Mingyu and Gyaore, but to me it didn't. It was hard to think about because it's the last text, and I think that could be playing here. Do you just want to say who they text real fast, and then
okay, so it's Jumi texts Gyaore, Ji Young texts Gyaore, Jimin texts Tushin, and Yisu texts Tushin.
Yeah, so Jiyeon texts Gyaore, but like, if this wasn't the last time they could text, would she have texted Mingyu again?
I don't think so.
You still don't think so?
I think she was hurting too much. I think she felt like he pulled away from her completely. So I don't think she was the type to then pursue that more.
That could be it. I think there's a pressure of like she's seeing him be more interested in someone else, and because it's the last text, it's like, oh, you don't want to look like a total idiot on TV, so it's safer just like switch and then see how it plays out later, and then you can go back that way, like outside of text. It seemed weird to me that like she didn't text Gyaore when he like confessed to some degree to her in the one-on-one, and now it's because of Mingyu's actions, I guess, is what. Yeah, that's what you're saying.
Yeah. It's because when Gyaore confessed to her, Mingyu still seemed like an option, and she was the most into him. And then now he's not. So yeah,
she didn't realize how serious the Jimin stuff was for Mingyu at the time.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess that makes sense. Jumi switches to Gyaore. I guess we're supposed to assume she picked up on the same vibe. The hosts say they got it right because it was like, oh, she also sipped the coffee that Gyaore brought.
Yeah, that was some bullshit.
That was some garbage.
I think it was also her falling back, but I don't know that it's entirely her realizing that Mingyu was totally into Jimin, which she may have figured out. But I think also like the way she was kind of trying to like help Ji Young feel better about things, like she had kind of passed off like the Mingyu situation to her. Like she knew her, like she wasn't gonna be like also go after him, seeing that like this other person who really likes him is also not getting attention to him, so she's like, I'll try to comfort you in this situation, and I'm just gonna step back to my backup.
Yeah, so they were both going after one guy, realized that shit was getting crazy, and then so they switch and both text the same guy.
yes that is what happened.
Okay.
Sadly, I don't see Jumi, the cool lawyer, like matching up with any of these guys. I don't see like her walking out of this with a solid relationship intact unless some things start to change.
Why do you say that? You just think Gyaore is all in on Jiyeon?
Yes.
Okay. If you're Gyaore on this night and you just get these two texts.
Yes.
I don't know what they said, but
never know what they say. Yeah.
I would be like, what happened? Why did I get two texts tonight? Like, I guess he's like, oh yeah, that coffee move with Jiyeon really did something. Maybe.
Or he could also see the vibe of what was happening with like Mingyu and
Nah.
like you don't know how much anybody sees in this house.
Maybe. I don't know. It seemed like so out of nowhere that Galray is just getting 2 texts, and it seemed like, again, it's like not really related to anything he did. It's just the girls falling back to like these backup choices.
Yeah, but also the bean move was nice with Ji Young. Like
He didn't hurt
listened to a
himself.
thing. Yeah, but he like specifically listened to a thing she told him about and remembered it and then brought it to her. Like that's nice.
Yeah. I still get the vibe that I don't like. I still got the vibe that she really liked it, but she didn't react to it as if like, oh, this was a. I guess she has to assume it's like a romantic gesture to some degree, right? She has
Everything's
to
a
realize
romantic gesture in this house. He has already told her that he liked her. Like,
yeah, I bet she
there's
thought
no
about that
doubt.
later, but in the moment, it just seemed like she was really excited about the coffee. It wasn't like,
Okay.
wow, Galray is so awesome. It was like, I guess she might have said that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think she might have.
She might have said that. Yeah. I don't know. I just didn't. It was. I was shocked by these selections. And then
Okay.
Jima did Hushin, which
Yeah. I don't.
was
I
that
don't
the
know.
most surprising one for you?
It was surprising, even though this is what I was saying since like our last episode, where like
Yeah, you thought
he's
that
her
the date with
second. Yeah.
Mingyu was so good it had to work.
Yeah. I thought, well, the way they edited it with all the flashbacks to all their cute moments during the song that she picked that was romantic and bullshit.
Yeah, that
like,
was the other thing. Like
the show was telling us that this was an endgame couple,
that's what I'm
and
saying.
then she
like,
didn't pick him.
why would they put together editing such a like beautifully done video package of their memories and all this shit? It can't be just
I
to
don't know.
fool us in this one
I
episode.
don't know.
That's not what this show usually does. And maybe they do it like a couple times a season just to have this big moment. And I'm not
Mhm.
remembering anything like that from Heart Signal 2.
Okay.
But that's why I'm like, they put so much effort into this, like making this one date seem like such a big deal.
Yeah, it's weird.
And then it feels like it can't be just to fool us in this one episode. Like it has to be
Solid maybe.
something.
Gonna be a while till we figure that out.
It makes me think that at least at a minimum, no matter what, Mingyu is going to pick Jimin in the end.
I wouldn't be surprised,
I'm sure Mingyu will go on other dates and they will seem cute and look good, but
but he won't care.
they put so much effort into this moment that it has to be a justification of what happens in the end of the show. And that doesn't mean that they both have to end up together, but like one of them has to be picking each other, and it's most likely going to be Mingyu, of course.
Yeah, most likely Mingyu.
Okay.
All right.
I think we got to the
We
bottom
have
of it.
one more date to talk about
No,
yet.
fuck, you know what?
Because
TV show. What is it? You didn't show us this date. You know what? You
I don't
didn't
know
have to
when it
show us
takes
this
place.
date. I get maybe it's gonna mean something later, but I don't know.
It
Is
might,
this just
it
filler?
might.
Is this a filler date?
No, because it's after the texts even
But
like.
is it after the text?
But I
We
mean, when
know
they
this?
place it, like, no, it is unclear when. I think this date happens after everything else. But again,
You
we
do,
get so many
okay.
flashbacks. I'm not 100% sure.
Hmm.
But basically, at some point, Ji-won asked Ji-young if they could go out on a date. Oh, he says he asked her out for Friday. I have that in my notes. Which Friday? I don't know.
It can't be after Tuesday. There's
It
no way
can't be after
there's no way they
Tuesday?
skipped ahead 3 days between episodes 6 and 7 just to show us this date that was going to happen in the future. This is
Yeah,
like
so
old
why-
date. This is
Why
old.
did they put it here? I'm so
I think it's
confused.
because the date doesn't matter, but they had filler. They needed to like fill the time slot or something. I don't know.
they are so inconsistent with how long these episodes run. I don't think
No,
they
no,
have.
they're about 1 hour 50, almost all of them. The show's pretty consistent.
Oh, it's the other show that's really
yeah,
inconsistent.
the other
Okay,
show's inconsistent.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Anyway, they have a date. It goes okay.
Jiwon still likes older ladies. Jiyeon
Hmm?
still doesn't seem that into younger guys,
Yeah.
right?
Although there are moments where she says she's into things or types of guys that are like him, and he's putting on a lot of moves. You know, he's saying all the right things. He is good at doing that.
Do you like Jiwon?
I like Ji-won.
You do, okay. There's something about him. It feels like, I don't know. To me, it almost feels like he's not really doing anything. He's almost just like using sheer willpower to try to win her over, and like that's it.
Well, what else is he meant to do? He's going on a date
I
and
was
he's
thinking
talking
about
to
that
her.
too,
And
but
he's,
I don't know. I just didn't.
I mean, he takes her on a date and he talks about her hopes and dreams. Like, it's a pretty decent conversation, you know? Like,
Yeah, it's a good conversation, I guess. Ultimately, like Jiwon says he likes her though because like she said something when he announced what his profession was to the group. She
uh
didn't
huh.
immediately say like, "Oh, what field of doctor are you?" She was like, "Oh my gosh, how are you on the show? And are you're that busy? That's crazy." Like, and then it's like he's just somebody that like maybe he takes care of people all day, and what he really wants in a woman is just somebody that takes care of him.
I
Is that like
mean,
all? Is that what this is? Like he like this one comment is all it took.
well, okay. First of all, he's not in the house very often, so he doesn't have a lot to go on. Second of all, I think she does show that she's a kind of person that like understands like his situation, which is probably important for somebody he dates. And also she like is expressing concern. She's not just, she sees that it's a thing that's busy, and she is like, they show a couple times I think where she's just like, are you tired? It's okay, like I'll drive, or but and that might just be her, she wants to drive agenda, but still, like she shows that she's a person that cares and like pays attention to things, I think.
Yeah.
And so those are decent traits. And again, he's never home, so he doesn't have a lot to go on. And also she's older and he likes that.
All the women in the house have expressed this sentiment in some way or form, right? Jumi definitely did.
Uh
She's
okay.
definitely somebody who is aware of these things, likes to take care of people.
Yeah, but she shut this shit down real fast because
Yeah.
she's like, nah, I'm not fucking around with a younger guy. It's not happening. We're not doing this. Goodbye.
Yeah. And he was into her at some point. But then Jimin
Yeah.
also, like, I remember when he got back the one time, she was like, you must be so tired. Like, shouldn't you go to sleep? Kind of like, shouldn't you get some sleep? Even though, like, she wanted to see him. Right.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. I feel like he's,
But
like,
she's
kind of
like too
picking and
young for
choosing his
him.
comments. Yeah. It's like, the real reason he likes her is because, like, she hasn't outright rejected him yet. And she's older than him. Those are like the qualifications, right?
Again, he's not been in the house for very long, so he's got to go with what he's got.
I don't know. I'm not vibing with G1, but I guess I don't know him
Okay.
at all. So
I mean, like, when it comes down to it, why does Mingyu like Jimin? Because she's fucking adorable and is charming
and
as
they've
hell.
opened up to each other about emotional
Yeah,
things and
yeah, a little bit, but I
not
don't
as
know.
much as they could have, but nah. Nah. They have good conversations.
I think that Ji-won and Ji Young have a really good conversation here.
It's good. It's kind of business
No,
like
he's
talking
like,
shop a little bit.
it's not talking shop. He wants to know about like how she's gotten to the point in life and what's important to her and like what her dreams are, and like I feel like they get into some deeper stuff here.
Yeah. It's more centered around like career stuff, which I guess
That's where you
I,
spend like most of your time. Like that,
I
if
guess
if
I
that's a
guess that's
thing
fair.
that,
I never give a shit about what people do for a living, so
okay,
maybe it's just
that's
not. Maybe
fair.
it's just me. It's probably just me.
I mean, like definitely lots of people have jobs that don't mean too much to them, but like she has this connection where like, being a flight attendant was her big dream and it's a whole thing, and
Yeah. Oh, apparently
you
Jim
know,
was like the greatest flight attendant of all time in her prime.
yeah.
But then, oh, this was actually interesting. She says like then she realized like decided to change jobs because she didn't want to be away from her family after she gets married and has kids. So which is like, oh, she's really thinking about getting married and have kids right now. That's why she's here, right?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty serious thing to say on a first date, right?
Well, I mean, sure. But it's good to be like straightforward with what
Yeah,
you're
it's
looking for,
fine,
like
but it's not something she's brought up. Maybe it just didn't come up naturally
I mean, she didn't
with other
say
people.
right away. She just said eventually, and I think
Yeah, but she's like literally changing her job for this
well,
reason.
yeah, but
Like,
that gets harder to do the older you get.
I guess so.
Like that's a super valid reason to, switch ahead of time.
Yeah, I mean, she recently switches though, and then she goes on this dating show, so she's making some
Well,
moves.
just because she wants to date somebody doesn't mean she like needs to get married right away, but it is like a path towards a goal. I'm making a little too many assumptions here about her timeline.
I actually thought like my thought was like I don't think G1's ready to have kids right now. That's what I was thinking.
I mean, with his job, he shouldn't, because like he's never gonna see them. But
Yeah, exactly. I I also felt like he was kind of getting a little drunk, and I don't know.
Really?
Wasn't he getting pretty red?
He was getting a little red. I don't know that it was that much. Like,
I don't know.
I don't think that he acted differently, but
It really just feels like we didn't need to see this.
I think we do kind of like get through to a point where like maybe she's like shut this down with him enough where she's like they talk about her ideal type and how it's typically somebody like him, and then she like gives reasons why it's not actually him, you know?
Yeah, that is kind of what she does in the end. She calls him. This is funny, actually. She says G1 reminds her of Tofu, but his personality is like a bulldozer.
Yeah,
he's a tofu bulldozer. This guy. What a random
I guess
thing to
that's
say about
something.
somebody.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what the tofu comment means.
I don't think I'd be happy if somebody said that I reminded them of tofu.
I think I'd be happier about tofu than a bulldozer.
Yeah, they're both not what I would want to be putting on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with the bulldozer part. Like, there's something about like the way he talks where it's like, I mean, this man just doesn't have time, so he's just getting to point, getting to points. But it's like,
yeah, what's wrong with that?
Nothing wrong with it, but compared to like the other dates Jiyeon has been going on, it like
I would 100% rather talk to this direct man than like Gyure, who took 5 minutes to decide that his ideal type was somebody who had a good smile or whatever bullshit.
I forgot about
like,
Gyure, actually.
like 100% this end of the spectrum rather than that.
Yeah, it's nicer just to be told like, oh, I'm into you.
Well, not just that, just like let's like have a conversation. Like, I think this is a better conversation than most of the dates people go on, even though it ends with her basically being like, no, thanks.
So why does she call him a bulldozer?
Because she's used to the rest of the shy ass guys in the house.
But you don't think bulldozer was meant in a negative way at all?
I mean, it might have been.
Because it's a little bit of like every chance he gets, he's like, oh, so what do you think about me? You know what it kind of reminded me of, actually? Now that I think about it, it kind of reminded me of the Singles Inferno date with Sulgi and the guy that you... the first date. It kind of gave me that vibes, honestly.
Interesting.
But it's like the age was actually like opposite, but like the attempts of like getting down to the point of like the date was in the guy's hands again.
Yeah. Maybe it is like a doctor thing. They're both in
yeah,
the
exactly.
field, right?
Like... These doctors don't have time, so they're just like, yeah, so do you like me?
Am I wasting my time here? Moving on. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Except in here, I do think like he takes an effort to like get to know more about her. Like, it's not all about just tell me I'm your type. It's
and they talk about
let's talk through it, you know?
Yeah, whatever. I'm just like, I couldn't believe I had to watch this after this is like, imagine you're on like you just got off like the biggest roller coaster ever, and then you had to like
wind down on something a lot more reasonable.
I don't even know what this is. Like,
this is what most dates on this show are.
I was so not in the mood to care about this date by the time I watched it.
Okay.
And you know what? Show, prove me wrong. Prove me that this date mattered. We'll see.
I think it does matter if it is just her shutting down this avenue, you know? Her being like, I'm not the Nuna for you.
You know what I think this is? I think G1 is going to continue not to be part of the show. He's going to miss out on a lot of date opportunities. But he's going to pick Jiyeon in the end. They had to put him
on at some point.
He's going to pick Jiyeon in the end, and they have to put something in there to make us understand why. And then this is what it is.
Okay.
They're like, oh, well, yeah, I need some more time in this episode. Filler, Jiyeon. I mean, G1 will pick Jiyeon. That's my best guess.
Really down on this date. Okay.
Yeah, it's just, I don't believe Jiyeon is going to do anything with this. G1 has got to be 4 out of 4 for her, right?
Yeah, but I think it's just because he's not around, you know? Like, I think if he was around...
I don't think so.
He would be having a much better time on the show.
He's the young guy. He's going to be 4 out of 4. As long as the other 2 guys she's somewhat interested in, which she's texted all of them at some point. Maybe not Hushin, but her date with Hushin was better, right? Come on.
Yeah. But
so G1's 4 out of 4 for Jiyeon.
But she basically laughed at him and went, "I know who you like." Like, that's an awkward way to have a date.
Yeah, but the date was still.
Yeah.
I am exhausted from this episode.
Yes.
Oh my god. We're still a really good episode though. Like, you know, it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to go, but still really good. So many feelings along the way.
Never shared any of your deep, dark secrets from your past about how anything. I didn't know when to ask because you gave me zero context.
I said I identified with Yumin. You should at some point you should have
Okay,
said
I'm
like,
asking you now. How do you identify with human?
no, just this like my scenario is different. Like I knew the people in my situation for far longer than
Okay.
they're gonna know each other. But it's just
Yeah,
this
yeah.
like like the person that you made an emotional connection with first and had like more serious conversations, not just like talking about school or like common interests or whatever. Like I don't,
Mm-hmm.
this like the connection he made with Jimin on that first date is something that I like definitely identify with getting sucked into.
Ah, okay.
But like ultimately like that's not who I ended up with, right? So like
Yeah, yeah.
I get it what he's going through right now.
Okay.
And I don't actually necessarily think Jimin and Mingyu are the best match on this show. Like I don't or Jimin
Yeah.
is the best match for Mingyu on this show.
Mm-hmm.
But there is just like this feeling of just rooting for it to work because I get where
because
he's
he
coming
wants
from.
it so much.
It just takes me back to this like very
Yeah.
specific period of time in my life
Mm,
where
okay, okay.
like I also had to make a choice, and then this is what happened. This is the choice I made, and he's doing the same thing as me basically.
Okay.
But he's definitely the lying about it. Definitely not the way I would do it.
The real question is, did you say you were busy on Tuesday? Like that's all that matters.
I never had to
me
be in the
at this
position
point.
to like pretend like that. Like
Yeah.
I didn't.
Okay.
I never was in that position, but just the idea of like pursuing Jimin before Ji-yeon or whoever we're thinking, wherever we're thinking Mingyu's, better match long term is.
Uh-huh.
I get why he just has made a choice and is going with it.
Yeah. Okay.
There's plenty of time, I think. Not that much time, but enough time left still that he could realize he has no chance and then try to make up with Ji-yeon. Be like,
but will it be too late?
it could be too late. I don't think Ji-yeon is. I don't think he's gonna be too late with Ji-yeon. I'm not impressed by Gyeore and Ji-won. So, and Hushin and Jumi seem like they might be a thing now. So, if Mingyu came to her and was like, "Hey, sorry, I was busy on Tuesday. Do you want to go out?" Like she's in, right? Like she's not that far out. Yeah, she'd be back in. I think
it's always complicated on these shows because like people feel like they need to pick someone, but I always advocate for you can pick no one. Pick yourself. Like fuck it. If everybody on this show isn't working out, you don't gotta pick anybody. I mean, they literally have to pick someone.
But she had legitimate feelings for Mingyu. I think it wasn't just like these other guys. I agree with you. Like if the other guys were your options, just pick yourselves. You have to pick somebody in the end, I think, is how these shows work. But yeah, I wouldn't believe that Ji-won's gonna have a real relationship with anybody but Mingyu at this point. I would have believed Hushin, but
maybe that'll circle back around.
That could circle back around, I guess. It seems like that's gonna take a lot more work after how their last date ended, but
I guess. I don't know. For me, if I was Ji-young, Mingyu's complete inability to say some words would have pissed me off. And I'd be like, okay, whatever. You don't want to talk to me about shit? Whatever. We're done. Goodbye. You're dead to me.
See, I think it's explainable for the reasons I talked about before. Just
I won't fight with you about it again.
Just say
but
you're sorry.
Just
say
say
you're
some
sorry.
words.
Tell the truth now, and who knows what can happen.
Okay.
All right. Anything else from this date you want to talk about? I did write down actually. Ji-won seems very committed to Ji-yeon in a like. Yeah, Ji-won. We'll just lock in Ji-won's pick for the rest of this show. It's
I don't know. Maybe he'll get to spend some time with Yisu, and that'll turn into something. You never know.
Yisu? Nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
Why not?
In Heart Signal 2, I'm pretty sure the young guy on that season. Now it's weird that Ji-won is the young guy on this season, but the young guy is in like a 24-year-old guy on Heart Signal 2. I'm pretty sure like he made the play of just like picking a girl and like doing it over and over again. Now I liked his approach better than Ji-won so far.
Okay.
But I thought he did like the best possible he could do given the situation, and then he like still didn't get picked in the end. So
oh well, it doesn't always work out. It's a bummer.
Yeah. Honestly, his best chance is just if he decides that he likes Jimin. I think that's like the best chance he has of actually matching. But
yeah.
I don't think that's happening. I hope this is at least the end of the Jimin Ji-won storyline.
Yeah, I hope so.
That'd be good. I can be done with that. All right, that's the end of episode 6. So next time we have a bit of change in the schedule, right, Sarah?
Yes. Next time we're gonna try to do episodes 7 and 8 of Heart Signal.
Yes.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yes. My schedule this last week is a little busier than normal, so I could not handle doing a second episode of Heart Signal in the same week. So in order to not fall behind in Heart Signal, we're gonna do Heart Signal again next week and try to do 2 episodes. And then for the Transit Love people, we will try to get back to Transit Love 2 weeks from now.
With episode 13, I believe.
Episode 13, yeah, that's right. So yeah, hopefully we can get back on track, but we got to be flexible here. It's
yeah, life's a little busy and we
life
talk
gets
a
busy
lot.
sometimes.
So,
Yeah.
takes a while to work on.
We'll get there. We're going to get through it.
Yeah.
We're going to get through all of it.
Eventually.
All right, Sarah, where can people contact us?
People can email us at keepwatchingpod@gmail.com, tweet at us at keepwatchingpod, Instagram at us at keepwatchingpod, leave a comment under this video on YouTube, also at keepwatchingpod. Or if you want to tell us that you are in fact busy on Tuesday, you can leave us a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Just the little things, the basic human decency of saying you're busy.
Yeah, Tuesday. That's 4th of July in America. But
That's
it'll
true.
probably be after this podcast is released, so
Yes. Or, any Tuesday.
they might have been busy last Tuesday.
That's true. And it's very easy to tell us that so we don't make plans together. See how easy that goes. Bam.
All right, we don't need to get into it. Alrighty. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye.
Bye.